All right, before we begin, let's thank our sponsors like Inspect All Pest Services, providing the highest quality termite pest and wildlife control. They'll also take care of that insulation in the house, pressure washing, gutter maintenance, and just about any other home service that you might need and or have. Located in Metro Atlanta and the surrounding area, reach out, inspectallservices.com. The Mad Dog, Manny Aurora, with his sidekick, Pew Pew, litigates all over the United States, but if you want to see that smiling face, go and see him. Based out of Georgia, criminal defense, white-collar crime, DUI, drug offenses, appeals, and more. The Aurora lawfirm.com. Need help? Get help. That's what I say. Go to the best in the business. That would be Dr. David Markwell and his 10 therapists in-house there at Ridgeline Counseling. 3 locations in Georgia. One across from Sprayberry High School in Sandy Plains in East Cobb, Marietta near the Square, and McKaysville just outside of Blue Ridge, but he can do virtual sessions anywhere you are at. You can reach out, markwelltherapy.com, or shoot him an email directly, ridgelinecounseling@gmail.com. FBC Insurance, perfect for new homeowners, or if you're just looking to reshop your current insurance policies, which you should be doing quite often. 5-star service where you shop over 35 A-rated companies. Very simple stuff. You need insurance for your home, flood, auto, motorcycle, boat, recreational vehicle, or just a personal policy. 888-308-1841, or you can email them, info@fbcinsuranceservices.com, or get a quote online, fbcinsuranceservices.com. My guy, your guy, that's Rachel Guy. Looking to buy or sell a house in Florida or Georgia? She can assist. 404-797-4600. This is my wife, by the way. I am Rachel Guy at gmail.com. Alternate Power Solutions of Georgia. Family owned and operated, which we love. They are a Generac generator dealer. Fantastic company. Offering sales, service, installation, and repair of automatic home standby and portable generators. Never lose power again. Plus, every single one of you, when you become a customer, you get an upgraded warranty, free monitoring with a service contract. Use the discount code Bailey. You're getting $500 off your entire installation. Servicing Georgia and Tennessee. A-plus rating with the BBB. All you have to do is call 770-853-7571, or you can go online, poweringgeorgia.com. JHM Land Solutions, another family-owned and operated. We love it. Land clearing, mulching, tree company, grading. You look in that backyard, commercial or residential, or just the yard in general, and you see a lot of stuff, you don't want to do it, get rid of it, they'll get rid of it for you. There is no project too big or too small for JHM Land Solutions. In this line of work, the best in the business, JHM Land Solutions. Call them at 770-274-9120. Jayco Contracting, our buddy Cliff Bratcher, gutter and roofing specialist. This is the hardest working dude in the roofing business. 770-316-3876. Licensed and insured roofing and gutter specialist covering all of Georgia. They are a platinum preferred contractor with Owens Corning, the creator of Pink Panther. Free gutter guards with the purchase of a roof. That's cool. Satisfaction guaranteed, commercial and residential. Give Cliff Bratcher your business. 770-316-3876. Online, jaycocontracting.com. Alive Ozone Therapy Spa. Full disclosure, it's mine and Rach's spa in Central Florida, Altamont Springs to be exact. We do ozone therapy, red light therapy, halo therapy, chromiotherapy, pressotherapy, PEMF grounding mat. We do it all. We are Central Florida's first and only ozone therapy spa. So if you're in and around the area, stop by. You can educate yourself just by going online, because everybody asks, what's ozone therapy? Go to aliveozoneTherapySpa.com. You can book an appointment there. And as many of you know, we have a ton of ozone-infused products on our website, aliveozoneTherapySpa.com, that you can order, and we will ship to anywhere. Look, if you're a sponsor and you want to get in on the podcast, we'd love to have you. Love to have a conversation. Or if you want to be a sponsor of the radio shows that air Saturday mornings on WJRR and Saturday mornings on Planet Radio in Jacksonville, reach out to me, thebaileyshow.com. All right, let's begin.
What do we want to talk about?
To be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment. Ralph Waldo Emerson.
Welcome to the Bailey Show podcast, a guy show women love to listen to.
Intellectually immature nonsense.
That's BS.
That's BS.
That's BS.
That's BS.
Okay, then, let's do it.
Yeah, there it is, episode 288 of the BS. Thanks for being here. My name's Jason Bailey. Right there, that is the B-Man, Brandon Thrasher.
What up? I survived the weekend, baby.
In the Golden Scissors studio, both of us sit.
I feel like I should keep looking at you at the screen, though, because it's going to be weird if I look over at you, because then it's just going to be us talking to each other.
You know,
I'm able to see it.
I'm not a TV guy. I never figured that out. We've got a 2-camera set, actually 3-camera set in the Golden Scissors studio. Rach and I do the Honey, I Raised the Kids stuff, and we're just both looking at the monitor. And I know the monitor is not in a great position for you. But if I were to look over, it just doesn't. I know that we've done some episodes before, and people have been like, he must be sitting next to him, or the camera must be over here. And I always say, one of these days, somebody's going to be brilliant enough to invent a monitor that has a camera in the middle of the screen somehow.
It's called a laptop. That's what I use.
Well, no, a laptop still, the monitor is on top of the laptop. Like it's on top of the screen. I'm talking about in the middle of the screen.
Oh, the very center.
Yeah, the very center of the screen.
Yeah, well, something be better than me. This is like the angle I'm looking at the screen, practically. I'm like, what? Who is that over there? It's going to be hell when Nate and Manny get here.
But Nate Chuck. That would be interesting. What's great about this, you being in the Golden Scissors studio, is I've been having this ongoing problem with this buzzing sound, and I've called everyone but God to help me out. You sit down, and I think you fixed it on accident, which is great. I don't know why or how, but you fixed it.
I think it might have transferred into my headphones. I think it's like the Green Mile where he sucks all the bad shit out. Now I've got it in my headphones.
That's crazy. That's absolutely nuts. So anyway, the Mad Dog Manny Aurora, I think Pew Pew are going to join us on this episode. This is a freebie episode. So for those that are listening that are non-subscribers, hope that you dig what we do, and you go and you see the thousands of hours of episodes or content that we have on thebaileyshow.com, and you become a subscriber. It's funny, we just got done doing Living Rent Free thanks to Inspect All Pest Services. And, part of the promotion, as many of the promotions that I do on this podcast, is, I want you to subscribe. So you subscribe, then you have an opportunity to win something. In this case, it was rent for a month, up to $2,500, which no other podcast is doing anything like that. It's a pretty big deal. And then as soon as the contest is over, I see a dip in subscribers. I'm like, dude, just hang around for a little bit. I mean, like, you never know. Another opportunity might arise that you can win your month's rent paid for. But Jesus, don't dip out on us that early.
Can you see how long people subscribe? Like, you could see the longest subscriber, or like how many months the day they first started subscribing?
I think so. I can see a lot of stuff.
That'd be cool to see. And then you would know, like, all right, if you've been following us for this many amount of time, you're entered to win this.
That's a good idea. I mean, I can go back and see the dates that people subscribe and all that good stuff. And, I can match up lists, and, I don't, if you want to subscribe, that's great. If you don't, you don't. I just thought it was kind of funny. It's like, dude, I'm trying to gain subscribers, even if I have to bribe you with cash. and the least you could do is be a subscriber till the end of the year, for the love of God. Don't unsubscribe right before Christmas. I don't know how much that $4.99 is going to help you with buying prizes for your kids, but anyway, so Podcast Empors 4 was a complete success. I mean, you guys know how I am. I always want more. I always want better. Everybody seemed to enjoy themselves. Everybody continues to congratulate me on a successful event. I thought it was great, and I appreciate everybody that came out, came down, came over, came up. Saliva was like, you couldn't have asked for a better headliner. I mean, Bobby and Brad and what Justin or Josh absolutely killed it, man. It was like cool. Bobby, I never realized how great of a singer and just artist he really is. I mean, doing Phil Collins in the Air Tonight with Saliva songs and Guns N' Roses songs and Aerosmith songs. I mean, it was pretty damn cool.
That was what was playing right in the air tonight when his mic went out.
Yeah, we had some power issues.
That was the perfect timing, though. I was like, if it had to happen, that was the song to do it on.
Right. We had power issues too. The video again had an issue with that. I'm still waiting to get a backup of audio because the audio didn't come through the way it was supposed to come through. So, with the behind the scenes issues that you guys don't have to deal with, you just have to deal with the finished product, and the finished product was good. And I'll start working on a Podcast Empors 5, but, big thanks to WJRR, in particularly Rick Everett, Paramore Brown, who came out and just did a bang up job as Paramore Santa. People love that guy. Crabman, the promotions guy, who I don't know, and I've met, I think, maybe once or twice before, but that's the way a promotions guy should be at a radio station.
He was doing great, dude. Over the top too, talking to everybody, and he was having a good time too. I had to tell him, I was like, man, I wanted to do this in Atlanta, and the promotions department there sucked. Like, there was no one else doing it. We wanted to do it, and they wouldn't even let us do it.
Yeah, the thing with a promotions person, what I learned, because when I started in the business, I was in promotions, and I learned from a guy named Dave Deemer, and who was a really smart guy, and a woman by the name of Angela Guzlin, which her last name's different now, and she still does the same thing for Cox Radio here in Orlando. But one of the main things that they taught me was your job is to promote not only the radio station, but the talent that is hosting the event. So your job is kind of like the liaison between said person at venue and talent. So you go around and cold conversation, say, hey, how you doing? I'm with, blah, blah, blah. Do you listen? No. Okay. Well, that's cool. You kind of get them excited and say, hey, I'd like to introduce you. This is our morning guy. This is our afternoon guy. That's your job, but it seems like these promotions people, anytime I see with radio stations, they're sitting there under a 10 on their phone, talking, texting, hanging out with their buddies. They're not doing their job. This Crabman guy, dude, he was a throwback.
Yeah, that's why I was surprised. I was like, I've never seen a promotions guy like actually do his job and have fun with it.
Right.
That's why I had to ask him, was like, are you doing promotions at the radio station? Like, yeah, man, that's what I'm doing. I love it. Been doing it like 2 years or something.
The guy loves it.
Yeah,
like he lives the part. The name Crabman is from a movie.
No, it's from My Name is Earl.
My Name is Earl. Yeah. Yes, that's right. It's the blonde. Yes. Okay, I gotcha.
Yeah, because when I went up to him, when I first met him, he was out there at the tent, and I was like, hey man, I'm Brandon. He said, hey Brandon, I'm Brandon. Call me Crabman. Because that's how they meet in whatchamacallit.
My name is Earl. Yeah.
He's like, hey Earl, I'm Earl. But hey Crabman. He ends up banging his wife and having a family with her.
What's funny is when I started this podcast, we had the slogan, and we still kind of use it, better than radio. And the whole idea was, I was so frustrated with what radio had become out at events with, the setup in Atlanta. It was absolutely horrible. It was horrendous. And so, our first podcast in Pours that we did at that brewery, our setup was amazing. I got the tent, I got the pop-up, we had the speakers, we had the, everything, and that was the whole gimmick. And I come back to Orlando to do this podcast in Pours, which is the first one we've done in Orlando with WJRR, my old station. And I forgot that they actually know what to do, so the better than radio thing didn't work. I'm glad that's not on any of my tent or pop-ups anymore, because you saw how they set up. And
same thing.
Yeah. And Rick Everett, my good friend, and he started in promotions. I mean, now he's SVP and stuff, but he started in promotions. The guy's a marketing and promotions genius, and he's a hardworking guy, and he gets it, and he knows what to do. So if you were out at Podcast and Pours 4, you saw like the JRR banner and the backdrop behind our tent, and he's going around handing out stickers, and they had merch and koozies and stuff for their morning show, and their midday girl, Mel Taylor, who was just a wonderful, wonderful person. She showed up in support because it was in conjunction. It was my podcast, our podcast. And, we're not that much part of the station. Yeah, I've got history with the station, and I've got fans still in Orlando that remember me and so on and so forth. But, in the whole scheme of things, I'm nothing on that radio station. They repurposed the podcast on Saturday mornings, and I'm appreciative of that. But I'm not a big name talent on the station. They came out and gave us everything. I mean, they gave us concert tickets to Metallica and Welcome to Rockville and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I think it goes back to the radio's dying for the most part, except for these few good stations that still have the right people in the right places, like Rick being up there. And he's like, well, I'm not just going to hire anybody to come do an event. Like, let's do it with, clearly the Bailey Show over there is taking it very seriously, and they've got a community, and they're funny, and they're consistent, and they're up with the times, baby.
Well, and that's why Rick and I get along and always have, is because we're idea exchangers, and he knows how I feel about that. And I want the best product. I tell people all the time, it's not about the millions and millions, you just satisfy your bubble. And I know my bubble, and I'm very proud of my bubble. You're my bubble listening. And if we're going to do an event, we're going to do a balls to the wall event. Even if I have to take a bath on it, we're going to do an event. And I want you to walk away and say, dude, that podcast really takes care of its listeners. And I think we once again did that for Podcast and Pours 4, going to the very beginning. Elixir, downtown Orlando, David Simino, the owner, who I've worked with my entire career, the guy gave us his entire venue. I mean,
Yeah.
Not only the bar restaurant inside, but the concert venue outside. It was ours until 11 p.m. 4 o'clock to 11 p.m. He gave us his venue and his staff.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome of him.
That was absolutely amazing.
I'm glad it was a nice venue because I was there for, I think, 14 hours straight. My feet were killing me.
Yeah, we were there for a while. And then we bring in the sound company, Aces? It's
of Aces, I think.
Of Aces. And Barton and his crew did a great job. I mean, just really professional. I forget the guy's name that was the younger guy with the long hair. Yeah, that guy was awesome. And they weren't your typical sound guys. Like most of the time, sound guys are kind of dicks. These guys were awesome. They were doing everything that we needed them to do and more. They were so, hey, can we do this for you? Just to make sure the event was perfect. So thank you to those guys.
Yeah, he gave me a card too. It's probably one of the coolest business cards I've ever seen. It's an actual playing card, and it's got all their stuff on, feels like a playing card, and it comes in a card pack too.
Yeah,
dude, that is awesome. I'm gonna steal this idea.
So we start off the podcast, 5 o'clock. Everything goes well. We did the live Twitch stream. I did get a few people that said, I wish you guys would have posted it on your social media so we could have joined. That's on me. I had so much going on. I always forget a lot of things during these events. That's on me, so
I posted it in the Two Peers chat, but I guess you're talking about a dedicated post or something.
There were people outside, new people that wanted to join. So that's on me. That's on me.
Yeah. Sorry about all the ads too. We got to change that, fix that. Cause we just got affiliated, last Tuesday, and then we filled out the information the past week. So
yeah, we'll fix that for tonight's. Well, no, it wouldn't be tonight because today's Wednesday. Well, we fixed it last night. How about that?
Yeah, there's still going to be some ads, but not as many.
So we did the live podcast. That was great. I thought that sounded good. You guys heard the show yesterday when we released it, and that was fun. And then Chuck gets up, and he should join us either this episode or tomorrow. I don't know, but
he's currently having travel problems,
travel issues. So, Distinct Grace gets up there with Riley Risa and just knock it out of the park. It was just awesome. I mean, the sound was great. The venue was great. And the weather ended up being perfect. I mean, it rained all day long, which was very odd. Florida, it rains for 30 minutes and stops. And it wasn't supposed to rain that much. It rained all morning, all afternoon. And then at 3 o'clock, it just stops. And it was beautiful outside. And so, we had the lights and the stage and the venue and everything was great. And then Saliva gets there and, they walk over and they walk through the crowd and they get up on stage and they knock it out of the park, man. I mean, they were doing, like I was telling you guys, you're never going to see this probably ever again. I mean, they just had fun. They were just doing it to have fun. And the relationship that, I have with Brad and now I've built with Bobby, it was cool to hear them sing, especially the Phil Collins in the Air of the Night, Guns N' Roses, Patience, which is one of my all-time favorite songs. And then, of course, the Saliva songs with Click, Click, Boom and Always and Ladies and Gentlemen and all that stuff. It was just a great event and everybody had so much fun. And here's the thing is, this is the first time that we've crossed listeners, right? So, most of the people that listen to this podcast are listeners of mine from Georgia, and I cherish you guys. And, Chuck and Brandon are up there and you run into them and that's great. I'm back in Orlando and I'm rebuilding my relationship with my old station WJRR to try to continue my vision of this podcast as well in radio. And to come, and JRR did so much advertising for this show. But the thing is most of that audience, if not all, the entire audience knows me as Buckethead, unless they still follow me and know that I don't use Buckethead anymore. So it wasn't like Buckethead's back, Buckethead's doing an appearance. Not that that's a big deal, but that's how they know me for 17 years.
Wait, did we call him WJR or just JR? You don't say www.facebook.com, you just say facebook.com.
you can say either one. People know, at least here in town. I mean, their call letters are 1011 WJRR. That's how they do it on,
Oh, yeah. Because what was ours in Atlanta? WNNX?
Yeah, we never used that.
Yeah, we never said that a lot.
No.
I remember I heard him talk about it, but we never used it. But this is a cool one, we would think, NNX.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, it was Rock 100.5.
WNNX, College Park, Atlanta.
College Park, Atlanta, right? Yeah, but the station is 100.5, but their claim to fame, especially now, they're 99X.
They went back.
Which I don't understand how they're 99X when it's 100.5.
I don't get that either. I don't understand that. Maybe they're rounding up or rounding down some a little bit, rounding down by 1.5.
I mean, like if you just want to say how dumb radio is, like, like that's girl math. What are you doing?
Like, so how do people find us? Is it 99.1? Like, no, it's still 100.5, but we're going to call it 99X. So we're just going to confuse the fuck out of everybody.
That's why when I knew that they were planning on flipping the station, this was a year before I got fired. I knew it was coming. And I was like, there was a part of me that was saying, going, there's just no way they're going to do that. The numbers don't match. Just like, who's the fucking idiot that's going to actually pull that trigger? Like, it might have worked in the 90s somehow. I have no idea how, but it did. Like, there's no way they're going to go back. There's no way listeners are going to be okay with that. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it's kind of insult too, like what Rock 100.5 was. Like, I get a lot of people like 99X, and I don't listen to it anymore. Or 100.5, I did. When we were there, and before I was there, I liked the music they played, and I like the talent on there. Now I can't even listen to it. It's rough.
So I was nice running into my point. It was nice running into old listeners. There's a woman that you'll see on our social media all the time, Jennifer, and she's been listening to me for 18 years.
Oh, yeah. She came up and talked to me.
And we've never met, I don't think. And so, like talking to her was, like, really cool, because I talked to her on social media and I'd see her on social media and stuff. But, we'd never met. And she's just supported me for all these years, 18 years. I mean, think about that. 18 years of support. That's pretty damn cool, man.
Yeah, well, I say she came up to me kind of early in the show, and I was like, I walked up and I saw her face. I was like, I recognize her. And then I remember she had when she said her name and her last name, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember seeing
Dickinson.
you Dickinson in the chat and whatnot. And over the years, I was like, I remember that last name. So talked to her for a little while. That was cool. Nice to meet her.
And so there was no problems, no issues. It was just great reconnecting with some old friends. My buddy Tim Wilkins came over. He's in Orlando now, but we met in Tampa, and I had some old fraternity brothers that came out, and it was I get like kind of emotional about these types of things, because in radio you take them for granted. It's like, hey, I'm doing this event, you should be there, you're lucky I'm doing this event. And that's kind of the radio mindset a lot of times, not every time, but a lot of times. I've always taken these things very personal. I've always looked at it like somebody's paying money that they earn, hard-earned money. They're taking their time when they could be doing a million different things to come out to an event that I've asked them to come out to. That to me is special. That to me is like the world, I don't ever want you guys, and like for new listeners right now, they're just kind of listening and going, what is this shit? You have to be a part of what we do. You have to be a part of this networking thing that we do and that we've done for so many years to kind of understand the relationship. I've always taken that kind of stuff seriously. So thank you guys for coming out. And then it ended, we had to be off the stage by 11, and we were, and they brought in a DJ, and the entire BS audience scattered. That kid got up there on his little laptop, and he's wiggity whacking. And you saw that new crowd come in, and my people were like, good night.
It was crazy how quick it changed. Like, I was walking around, I'm like, were these the people that were here earlier? I'm like, who are these people?
Yeah. And as far as highlight moments, of course, the entire Saliva set was a highlight moment.
I hope someone saw me fall off the table back there. Did you see that?
I did not see you fall off. I was going to mention that, and you made it rain on Chuck for one of his songs.
Perfect, yeah.
For whatever reason, and you came in and you asked me if I saw it, and I said I did. I said I thought that was pretty cool. And you go, you want to do it again? And you asked me for $10, so you get 10 once. And I was like, go fuck yourself.
So all you got to do is say 2.5 to the cashier lady. She'll give you all ones for them, man. So
I was like, no, I'm good.
I had the idea because, what was it? Tim Yeah, Tim's like, can you give me a drink? He gave me cash, and it was a little more than the cash he gave me. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to get ones. And then perfect timing. I don't know what song it was, but it was the perfect timing.
Yeah, it looked good too. I mean, I was literally right behind you in the crowd.
Oh, okay.
When you threw it, I was like, why are you doing that? But that was kind of neat.
Yeah, the way it fluttered perfectly, like a movie.
I got jobbed by Chuck, which I'll bring up when Chuck joins the show. On stage at my show in front of my people, I got jobbed. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't.
Yeah, I got jobbed. He jobbed me. He jobbed me in front of my crowd.
Well, were you supposed to sing a song?
No.
Oh, okay.
Remind me to bring that up when Chuck joins the show.
Oh, I'll remind you.
Yeah. Also, Brandon, his Christmas song, knocked it out of the park. It was awesome. And I'll tell you, it was the first time. Okay, there were people, there's a little gate, up by the stage, for the band and the people. They were on a little stage that was raised up. There's a good number of people up there watching Distinct Grace, Wasn't crazy full, but there was a good number of people up there. All the people started coming up there when Brandon started singing. That's a true statement. I turned to Rach and I said, did you notice all these? And they weren't just two peers that knew you. They were people in Orlando that were new to what we do. You remember the older guy, and he had like kind of the leather jacket on and stuff, the leather vest. He looked like a biker.
Maybe.
So
he was the guy wearing the saliva shirt or with the dreads?
No. That guy, I'm glad he was there. Like literally, I'm glad he was there.
Oh, the saliva guy?
The guy with the dreads?
Oh, the dreads dude. Yeah, he was cool, dude. I don't know who he was, but by the end of the night, we ended up being like best friends.
Yeah, he just went through a really rough patch.
Oh, you know him?
I don't, but I know I found out his story. He told his story to Rach, and I don't want to bring anybody down, but so he, I guess, had some really bad business stuff go on, some personal stuff go on, and he was contemplating. And he was close too. And somebody with WJRR, he was a JRR listener, or he is a JRR listener. He had no idea who we are.
Yeah.
And he got a message from JRR asking if he still wanted the tickets. He won tickets to the show. And they reached out to him when he was contemplating.
Oh, damn, dude. That's a sign, man.
That's divine intervention.
That's
right there.
Crazy. I'll get chills right now.
That is divine intervention. So, I've been meaning to let Rick and his staff know that they literally saved a life that night.
Oh, they don't even know. He just told Rachel?
He told Rachel, and then she told me to go up to him and talk to him because he wanted to meet me. And so I was trying to find the right time, and I didn't want to make a big deal about it because we're in the middle of a freaking rock show. So I went over to him and I said, hey man, I'm glad you're here. He goes, I'm glad I'm here. And I said, I know your story. That's what I mean. I'm glad you're here. And I gave him a hug, and he goes, I appreciate that. And this dude was badass, man. Like, I don't mean to sound gay, but he had beautiful eyes.
Oh yeah, his eyes were crazy. They're like a bluish, grayish kind of thing going on.
And he looked cool. Like I don't know what ethnicity he was, but it was a brown skin, and he had these dreads. The dude was just cool.
Yeah, I saw him in the bathroom at the urinal, and I just saw the back of his head. I'm like, is that Brad? Is Brad already here? He's just pissing in the regular person's bathroom? I thought he'd be in the green room, but I'm like, oh shit, okay. What's up, dude?
And then he got crazy towards the end of the night. And I don't even think he was drunk. I just think he was having a good time. He was.
Oh, we had hit a little live resin.
Oh, okay. No, he was living his best life without a doubt. So it was great. So thank you. Keep following us on social media, or if you don't, Listen to the BS. We'll be posting videos. Buddy the videographer. I want to say Buddy the Elf. Buddy the videographer is working on getting some video up and a recap video and all that stuff. So thank you, Buddy. You're great. I appreciate you. So let's welcome to the show. What do you keep doing?
I'm supposed to be taking notes, and I can't see the time on either one. So I got to come over there and see what the time is. So we're going to have to do something. I got to start a timer next time or something.
You want a timer? Here's a timer. There you go. Let's welcome to the program.
He literally turned the timer on and he set it in front of him.
Well, it doesn't work. That's why. Yeah, it needs batteries.
I'll use it for my phone on the next one.
All right. There is the Mad Dog, Manny Aurora with the Aurora Law Firm, the AuroraLawFirm.com, and his trusty sidekick, Pew Pew. What's up, Manny?
Oh, not too much, guys. How are y'all doing today?
We're good. How you doing, Pew Pew?
Howdy. I'm doing well.
I survived the weekend, boys. Didn't die down here. I didn't go to jail either.
Yeah, we had Podcast and Pours 4, and Brandon is we're actually at 49. It's tough for me to do that. It's just not that I was overly intoxicated, but it was a night. We missed you guys. You guys should have come down. You guys would have had a blast. It was a good time. Pew Pew, I got to ask you something. So a couple weeks ago, I text you for the Tuesday night live stream that we do on Twitch at 6 p.m. And you never returned my text. Still to this day, you haven't returned my text.
I don't know that I ever got that text, but if I missed it, I'm terribly sorry.
Sounds like a woman thing. I never returned a text. Manny, what's up with your boy? Does he do that to you? Doesn't return your text?
No, he returns my text because I pay him.
Oh, all right. Well, maybe I'll pay you for every text I send you. People wanted you on the live stream. That's why I didn't text you last week. Because I thought you were mad at me or something.
No, I'm sad to have missed out. I'll have to get on next week.
I was going to say
it's growing too, man. Next time you come in, it'll be beautiful.
We are an affiliate now, right?
Yeah, we're making money off it now.
We're an affiliate on the Twitch. That means we're a big deal in the stream world. So what's going on, Manny? How are you? What's up?
I'm doing a lot of traveling these days, so that is what is up, including getting ready for the trial in Memphis. It's not for a few months. But if anybody Googles Young Dolph, apparently he was a big rapper, or Gotti.
Oh, yeah.
We got the trial set. We formally rejected the ridiculous plea offer of the state. We took the ire of the state in their disdain for us not bowing down to them and taking their ridiculous plea offer.
So
we'll have a trial.
You're representing Yo Gotti?
No, Yo Gotti isn't charged. They're saying this guy is the one that set up the hitmen to meet with Yo Gotti's brother, who's since passed, to kill young Dolph. Because the story is Dolph's people shot up Gotti's bulletproof Mercedes sedan. And right after that, they started releasing a song called 100 Shots, implying that, we fired 100 shots at your car. So now there's retaliation. And eventually, young Dolph gets killed in front of the cookie store outside Memphis, and he would not be hard to find because he drives a camouflage wrapped
all his cars
Lamborghini SUV. So it's not hard to find in not the most affluent neighborhood in town.
I thought that song 100 Shots, it said in the song, it says, how the hell you'll miss a whole 100 shots. So I thought his car got shot up. Yo Gotti's guys shot him up, didn't they?
I've been told at it both ways, so I don't know. Somebody shot somebody and they lit it up, and somebody had a bulletproof Mercedes sedan.
Well, he's got another one when he did get shot and he didn't die. He said, but I'm bulletproof. So but he wasn't bulletproof. We found out.
So he made a song. He made a song after he got shot, said, but I'm bulletproof.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're arguing, Manny, that the song 100 Shots has nothing to do with the shooting.
I'm not arguing anything. It's just something that's sort of come up. Apparently, I don't even know for sure who shot who and that, but whoever had the Mercedes that was bulletproof and was inside it got shot up a bunch, probably much more than 100. And that was just part of the whole escalation here.
But you've been through this before, making the argument that freedom of speech in songs has nothing to do with the actual act.
Right. In this case, it would be the victim sort of singing all that kind of stuff. It just was coincidental after this happened. Doesn't mean it proves anything, or he could have just, been documenting what happened exactly. But
you do know, like, lyrics, especially in the rap world, it's pretty much a manifesto. I mean, they're telling the story. I mean, that's Well, hold on, Pew Pew, you're shaking your head.
I mean, I think it's artistic expression. It's no different than Johnny Cash talking about how he killed a man.
I know. I've heard the Johnny Cash thing before.
Manifesto. It's art.
Look, I'm the last person on earth that's going to disagree with freedom of speech, but I'm the first person that's going to argue common sense. I mean, you cannot discount songs and real meaning behind them. I mean, every song has got a meaning behind, well, outside of top 40 stuff, but for the real lyrics written by real people, especially in the rap world, it's all about that. I mean, they'll tell you that. I mean, NWA will tell you that. They'll say, hey, look, this was our life. This is all real. This is where we came from. We want the world to know it. Yeah. So, I mean, and rappers will tell you too they send warning signs and stuff to people through songs, the diss tracks. I mean, all that stuff.
I mean, I don't disagree that there are specific examples of diss tracks and things of that nature, but I don't think that you can look at, an entire genre of music and say all of the lyrics mean this or all of the lyrics mean that. I mean, you got to take it on a very case by case example, but by and large, it's just not anything.
I agree. I agree with that. You do have to take it on a case by case basis, and that case by case basis would be on the person that's singing those songs. And if there's a history of that person singing any song, one song that has real lyrics that were a message or came true or about a true story, then everything after that you would chalk up as saying the same thing. No,
I don't know that I'd agree with that. I think it's got to be very, very narrow.
All right. Well, anyway, in this case with the 100 shots, I know that the shooting happened, I think in Charlotte or something like that.
Yeah,
and there was an allegation in like 2017, right? And somebody named Black Gangster or Youngster was involved, and not so much us. So maybe my point of view would be different if I'm the victim and singing about how I survived because I'm documenting what it is. Whereas a lot of people pretend to be gangsters and want to take credit and will sing stuff from the neighborhoods or the streets and do it that way. It doesn't necessarily make it real. But certainly it could, as you argue, Jason, but you'd have to look at the facts and circumstances along with it to say what links this person aside from a song. And the point I think Mr. Pew Pew is trying to make is if it's just a song without more, you can't just say, yep, that's your confession. There's got to be more, because a lot of people, when I was growing up, just north of the city, every white kid would wear with their little certain pants and the red bandana thing and sideways hats, and that was the 80s and the 90s. They didn't make those little dorks gangsters, but everybody wanted to be cool, and people take credit for a lot of stuff they didn't do.
Well, have we figured out why we're shooting each other?
Yeah, they're both in Memphis. They're rivals.
What? Okay, so what does that mean,
dude? If you listen to "Play with Yo Bitch" by Young Dolph, you understand all of it. It's all about Yo Gotti and his big brother that screwed him over. So
okay, so we're shooting each other because of all these people and the screw overs. And look, they probably all should go to jail. I mean, if
they probably should.
Yeah. Like if that's your life and that's the way you want. I mean, talk about drama every day. Like, dude, I mean, stop. But hey, it's good for you guys, right? I mean, the more people do this dumb stuff, the more you guys have cases. All right, let me ask you, Manny, is the Aurora Law Firm on speed dial for every rapper in the rap world?
I think the $1 billion lawyer gets most of them. Like, for example, we represented Young Dirk, the guy out of Chicago, on a big old Little Dirk. I'm sorry, big, young, little. It's all the whatever. Mr. Dirk, little, maybe not so little anymore, was in Atlanta during the Super Bowl a few years back and was accused of shooting up everything in front of the varsity in a massive shootout with 4 people. We ended up getting those charges dismissed for him. So I'm thinking, great. Now he gets picked up for murdering somebody that apparently murdered his brother and his friend, and he is in prison or in jail in federal court in Los Angeles. And he hired the $1 billion lawyer who's supposed to be really good, but I'm not on social media enough to give myself a cool nickname like that. So that's the accessory they're going with. And so it's a little disappointing, but yeah, a lot of this people have the $1 billion lawyer on standby. I think we're a little too understated since we don't have a social media presence, but Jason's helping us with that.
But wait a minute. Is
we'll figure out.
So you're not like, that's not just a joke or a gimmick?
No, there's a guy that the nickname is the $1 billion lawyer. He was representing President Trump in the beginning, got fired, and another guy took over. He's now representing Young Dirk, a Little Dirk, excuse me. And so those are the kinds of things they don't do, is like follow up with the clients after the case is over. And so maybe that's a problem.
You do have a nickname. You're the Mad Dog, Manny Aurora.
Right.
You have
on this podcast. I'm the guy. Yeah.
No, but see, you can take this and trust me. You would not be the first attorney that has taken a nickname that I've given to him and used it for a profit. There's a guy in Tampa. Ask the Dom. My idea. There's a lawyer show here in Orlando that I started, that I trained. I can count 4 attorneys in my career that are still using the gimmick that I've helped them with. And that's cool. That's great. I'm glad to see that was successful for you. I know the truth. I know what happened. You are my friend. Use the Mad Dog. You just you're so humble and you don't want to do it because you think that it's cheesy, but gimmicks are cool, man. I'm telling you. So you need to find somebody to do billboards or whatever that say the Mad
No
Dog.
advertising. Lawyers have a bad enough name. We need to make it worse. But you know what?
No,
I will take a Mad Dog here.
Find somebody, a social media company to do the Mad and come up with a cool, like the Mad Dog, Manny Aurora. I will make it rough, you know.
Well, that's one way to say it. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you can change up dog as DAGG. It just fits Georgia right there. So, you know, I mean, pew pew. Look, you know I'm right on this. You got to push them to it.
Yeah, listen, I've been trying to talk him into the billboards, but I don't know if that's going to happen.
It's not dignified. That's not dignified.
You need to hire a social. Can I introduce you to a social media company?
Young Pew Pew is my social media because he's the youngest one in the office and knows it.
No, sorry, brother. I'm talking about these people that I just hired for a live ozone therapy spa. These ladies are brilliant.
Please don't tell me they went to school for social media.
I don't know if they
Can
did.
You do that?
Yeah, it's hideous. Someone I know hired.
Just sitting there tweeting all day. That's your degree.
That's who it was. Yeah, Bailey hired a person that went to school for social media.
Well, I hired her for something else, but she just happened to have a degree. Why is that ridiculous? You can go to school for Taylor Swift now, video games. You know,
that's ridiculous too.
So there's a company. Okay, there's a company. A woman I just met. It's a franchise. She owns one. I'm joining all these networking things for the spa, right? And she's a very nice woman. And she owns a company where, you know, you go and you play video games, but they also give you training on how to get better at the video games. Now, I think that's ridiculous. I really do. But if I take a step back and I go, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry where there are teams that have huge national sponsorships that play on national television that have millions of followers and fans. Why not? Right? I mean, just because I don't get it doesn't mean it's right or wrong. That, you know, so the social media thing, yeah, there's a lot of things. Brandon, I know that you do well on social media and you still think that you're the young whippersnapper. I'm telling you right now, there are people out there that understand everything about it. And sometimes you got to learn that in school. These girls, these women were telling me things that I knew they were right. Were just blowing my mind, you know? So they haven't necessarily started yet for us. So I can't tell you any success because the campaign hasn't started, but they're the smartest social media people I've ever met. Smartest. So the things that they said to me and showed me, absolutely brilliant. So I think they could help you run with the Mad Dog stuff is what I'm saying.
I'm sure it's wonderful, but I'm just thinking, you know, if I'm the client and my lawyer's always on social media doing stuff, I'm like, shouldn't you be working? But that's always been my philosophy instead of socializing and hitting big parties and wearing sunglasses at night and all that kind of stuff.
But that's why you hire a social media company. I mean, like,
you still got to give them content, right?
Yeah.
Well, they can get the content. I mean, they can come to you and get the content, and you can get somebody in your office that can help them get the content. You know, do you think Trump is actually tweeting out this stuff all the time? No, of course not.
Might be. I mean, spends a lot of time on that. So
I know for a fact he's not, because I talked to his what was his
brother?
No, it wasn't his brother. It was his uncle's kid, his nephew.
So his nephew is the one that came up with Kofefe and all that other stuff. I mean,
his nephew's not
3 in the morning.
His nephew's not a fan of his uncle Donnie.
He probably writes all of them, but he probably has someone else post them. Like he probably just sits up, you know, till like 10 o'clock, just sitting there all grumpy eating McDonald's, just writing out all his tweets for the next day.
Well, there's an article about that. He was dictating, you know, what he wanted to say, and then they were putting. But you look at like The Rock. You know, The Rock has got a social media team that follows him for content, and that's smart because he makes millions of dollars.
But that's his job. I mean, he's getting paid, you know, to do all that stuff. I'm supposed to actually work on your case and help you get out of trouble if we could legally do it.
He'd be like up there and be like, sorry, we only got you down to 5 years, but let's take a selfie real quick so I can post it.
I mean, you're not going to brag about, you know, that kind of stuff and say, here we are walking into court. Look at me. I've got a tie from Armani and a suit from Gucci and shoes from Ferragamo and you know that.
I can see what Pew Pew's thinking right now. And he goes, I really want to step in and agree with Bailey and go against my boss, the Mad Dog Manny Aurora, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to sit here like a good little Pew Pew, and I'm going to nod my head and agree with everything what Mad Dog says. You know I'm right, Pew Pew. Blink twice if you agree. Wink, wink. See, you know I'm right. You know the Mad Dog is bigger than what he knows he is.
I mean, I think there's space for both things. I totally see Manny's point, but I also do think that, you know, a lot of people do have social media teams. And I think there's an understanding that even if you're in a little content here and there, you are still doing work.
I think it's more of a, you got to find a happy medium, like maybe a little more than you're doing now, but don't like go over the top and you know, just do it like a daily vlog of your life. That'd be weird as a lawyer.
No, and I understand. I agree. I agree. I agree with that. But
I think when you say social media team, it makes it think that like, all right, they're about to come in and just overhaul and do so. Like they're going to be posting 5 times a day and just be like sending it out to everybody.
no, I just think that you could use, you know, this $1 billion lawyer, as cheesy as it may be. There's a reason why he's the $1 billion lawyer. That's with a B. You know, I mean, you call me whatever you want if I have $1 billion in my bank account, and you're 10 times. I don't even know this guy, but I know you're 10 times better than him. People,
he's a good lawyer. I mean, as far as I know, but look, the point is they're putting up photos, hanging out with famous people and going to places and stuff. I mean, if we did social media, it'd be just for legal material. I mean, my personal life shouldn't be an issue. I mean, if I was paying me my fees, I would want somebody to say, why isn't this guy working 24 hours a day, you know, to save my bacon?
so with
But
all
that
the
would just be my understanding if I'm paying that kind of cash.
So with all the rappers that the Mad Dog and the Aurora Law Firm represent, how many of them do you have in your cell phone that you could call right now?
A couple that I like. I mean, some of them, they change their numbers very often, so I don't really keep up after the case is over. I try to tell people I'll represent you once, maybe a second time if it's a misunderstanding. Otherwise, it starts to tarnish your reputation as a lawyer because you go in saying they've learned their lesson and all this other silliness, and it's like the third time they're out there. So
Who do you have in your
um,
phone? Who do you have in your phone? Give us some names. Little,
we
big.
can't really talk about those kinds of things because that's what you kind of get in trouble for.
Oh,
But it's mostly their managers and some record label executives and stuff that we generally have. They're more important sometimes than the actual person because they're the ones paying the bills and making a lot of the decisions.
oh, okay. Who's your favorite one? Can you say that? Who's your favorite rapper to deal with? Lil, big, MC,
Young, old.
I
Dog.
think they've all sort of gotten annoying, but Rico Ritchie was a good one years
Oh.
ago when he was still a thing before.
We were all wrong. There was no Lil, there's no big, there's no old, there's no young.
Yeah, there's something. There's always something. Yeah.
Rico.
Rico Ritchie's actually intelligent, had a college degree from a really good school before he got into the music business, and had some issues, and now he writes songs and works with kids, and it's really changed his life.
Do you go and download their music after they become a client so you can become aware of their songs?
No, because I think there's a song that Nathan had told me about, or somebody told me about. Who's the guy with the pine cone or the ice cream cone on his face?
Gucci Mane.
Yes, he's got me in one of his songs.
Oh,
And
really?
then in the book, they just said my lawyer beat the murderer or something like that. And I was like, wait a minute, at least use a name, brother.
So Gucci Mane, he's a big deal,
Yeah,
right? Okay.
he is now, and I think Little Dirk put us in one of his songs too, didn't he?
Oh,
Nathan?
really?
I mean, you guys were listening to something. I know one of the guys in the office played it. And I didn't realize all that stuff because it's not my music of choice.
Dude, look, I'm not a big fan of that music, but still, to get name checked in a positive way, that's pretty badass, man. Brandon, get out of my screen.
I gotta see the time. That's a good one.
Get out of my screen. That's a good one. That one's going on the radio show. That's great. That's phenomenal. Okay, so I've got questions for you guys, but I want to bring up a few things. The first thing I want to bring up is I want your opinion, Mad Dog and Pew Pew, on the Daniel Penny case and what you would have done differently if, I guess you wouldn't have done anything differently because to defend Daniel Penny because he got off. But what are your thoughts on that?
Oh, I mean, that whole issue is it a vigilante situation and all that kind of stuff. I don't know enough of the facts about it, but self-defense is probably the way to go. And apparently it worked.
So
So,
I guess,
I mean, they defended him properly with the theories that they put forward.
yeah. So I guess the question would be for the average Joe listening is that if you're in a similar situation, you're on a tram, and some crazy fool starts threatening people's lives, and you decide to take the person out. Daniel Penny did not mean to kill this guy. And matter of fact, he didn't kill this guy. The guy died on the way to the hospital. So, like, can you do that if somebody's on a plane and threatens somebody on a plane or is belligerent or whatever the case may be, and you feel threatened, can you take them out?
Yeah, well, you can use self-defense, but it's got to be appropriate to the amount of the threat, right? So if it's life-threatening, then you can use deadly force. But if it's something that's not life-threatening or immediate bodily injury, serious bodily injury, then you're overreacting at that point. Like, for example, if somebody's slapping you around a couple of times and you pull out your gun and shoot them, that's a little bit much. But if somebody's coming at you with a baseball bat, you can take them out, with a gun. In this situation, he did kill him because what he did led to the medical folks being called, and he just died from complications as far as that goes. But in the heat of the moment, if you're strangling somebody, I mean, I don't know how hard one has to squeeze to break the hyoid bone and do some of the other stuff, that causes death. But I can understand that. If it's a valid self-defense and he's using his hands and defending himself, it's different than I just put 8 shots into the guy. Yeah.
Well, so would that be considered a citizen's arrest?
Some states have something called a citizen's arrest. Georgia used to have it until the whole Ahmaud Arbery case came about, and then we sort of got rid of it. Citizen's arrest it's very iffy, but the point is, did his use of force go above and beyond what was needed to protect him or a third party from this individual? And that was the debate, to be had, and that's why they had a trial.
So if somebody says, I'm going to kill you, I'm going to hurt you, just the verbal threat. In this case, Daniel Penny, went and said, no, you're not. Like I understand the stand your ground and you don't bring a gun to a knife fight, and you don't bring a knife to a fist fight. But like, you don't know what's going to happen next. So
right. So the words can be said. You and I can say that to each other. According to the context of the words and the ability to actually carry something out. So if a stranger comes up and his demeanor's in a way, or his eyes are all red and he just looks completely drugged up, or you just saw him beat up somebody and then he comes to you threatening you, yes, then you could, he used his hands. It just got a little bit much. That's what I'm saying. It's a little bit easier to defend that than somebody that would just then pull out a gun and just start shooting based on a threat. For example, if you go back to that Florida case from some years back, right? The guy said the young black kid, jumped on me or whatever, and I shot him X number of times. That was excessive. And the man was I guess he was acquitted, but anyway, that was the whole stink. Remember in Florida? Well, I can't remember the guy's name that shot the young black kid that was walking in the neighborhood with a hoodie on.
Talking about Trayvon Martin?
Yeah, and the guy said, I don't remember the security guard / citizen's name that sort of jumped on him. But it's just got to be proportional is what the law calls it. And so if the guy threatens me, I don't know the full context of it. If he's looking crazy, if he's done something in the past, if I'm genuinely scared because it's midnight in the subway or something, and I use a reasonable amount of force, being my hands, and unfortunately it gets a little too much, you can defend that. Yeah. But if he's just talking and there's no threat, then it's a little different. You have to, again, look at the context, what the other people on the train saw. But if he would have just been yelling at you and you could just pull out a gun and open fire, that's going to be a bit much.
Well, how do they get away with saying like fire, or then why is that a problem saying like fire in a movie theater?
Those are just some of the words that you're not allowed to say because it could cause a riot and a panic and things like that. And generally it's a misdemeanor. But you're not supposed to create those situations. But nobody's actually ever been prosecuted for saying fire in a movie theater. That's a law school case from 100 years ago.
We should try.
But I have yet to find a fire in the movie theater case because nobody'd believe you, first of all. But
well, look, I'll give you that case. You just got to represent me for free. I'll go do it when I get back home. And like, we actually have the fire in the movie theater case.
And Manny can take credit and be like, look, this was a faux case, man. It was just now it's real, all because of Brandon Thrasher. And I'm gonna be the guy to disprove or prove whatever you're gonna do with this case. Finally,
it'll be Thrasher versus Georgia going forward with. Like, we got 27 people a day screaming fire in the movie theater now. Damn it!
So I understand what you're saying. I don't I don't agree with everything, and meaning that, the idea of waiting to see what happens in order to match whatever that person is doing, I think was a good concept in the beginning. But now what we see is people are moving faster. They're crazy faster. And the more you wait, the more time that goes by. Like this Daniel Penny guy, I think he's a hero. I think that he should be the poster child for what everybody else in the world should do. As soon as somebody has the balls to get in on a public transportation or in a public place and threaten their lives, then somebody or some people take that guy out. I'm not saying you have to kill him, but I mean, you take him out and you beat the shit out of him. Because
well, I mean, we don't disagree with it, but it's got to be proportional and in context. And so it's not like I'm giving you an opinion. That's just what the law requires, as far as that goes, to make it justified. So, I mean, I could come up in the subway or a platform or something and start yelling at you, I'm going to kill you. But if I'm just acting goofy or doing that stuff, you can't just have everybody punching everybody out. So there's a happy medium as far as that goes. And for an example, I'll give you is when a police officer shoots somebody, they don't take their statement right away, right? They take their gun and their badge and they go on a 3 days leave. They get like a 3-day cooling down period before they actually have to make a statement so they can actually listen to whatever they're saying. People like Penny, they get arrested on the spot. If he wasn't arrested on the spot, but most of our clients get arrested on the spot or questioned incessantly for hours right after it. But the police get 3 days to calm down, and they're trained to do this kind of stuff. And in every trial, they say we have to make life and death snap, snap, snap decisions. Nobody seems to use that same police perspective on a defendant that's not a police officer. They expect us to be sort of perfect. So I agree with you, Jason, but the law specifically says it's got to be proportional. You've got to understand the situation. And even the police officers can't do it. So,
yeah. Well, I think there should be a law that if you threaten anyone's life, that anyone around you has the green light to whoop your ass.
So if Brandon says, I'm going to whip your ass, whether he means it or not, or has the ability to do it, you could, and the two of us were in the studio, we could just start kicking his ass.
Yeah, we'd kill him.
In response,
we'd kill him and we'd blame it on Pew Pew. That's what we would do, because nobody is going to believe that guy killed somebody. So we have totally confused the jury, and we get off the hook, and Brandon's dead finally.
Oh, there's that old saying that they say in the law, better to be judged by 12 than carried by 6. So you have to sort of take that whole self-defense thing with a grain of salt.
Oh, did you tell Polo G that? I heard that in one of his songs. I didn't know if he shouted you out in that too.
No, that wasn't my quote. That's just something that's been around for a long time in the legal business.
All right. Pew Pew, do you agree with my Daniel Penny stuff?
Not entirely, no.
Like
but what I will add, what I do think sort of gets lost in a lot of these discussions is that self-defense is almost never judged at the scene, right? The cops don't typically roll in and say, this clear-cut self-defense, everybody's free to go home. You end up getting arrested, you end up spending time in jail, you end up spending, however much money on legal fees, and then you end up going to trial. And whether or not you're acquitted at the end, there is a good year of time and money and stress and all of this that comes along with it. And, I think generally speaking, it's in people's best interest not to strangle each other on the subway.
Of course, we don't want that, but don't be crazy and don't do dumb stuff. I love the fact that Trump and Vance took this guy to the Army Navy game, and I mean, I think he should be an example of what any and every American should do. You see these videos of people on a plane. Look, I paid money to get on this plane. I'm supposed to feel safe by this company that I just paid money to be on this plane with my family. And then you get some crazy person and you look around and no one's doing anything. And the flight attendants, they're not trained to do that. And they're probably afraid they're going to get sued or lose their job. I mean, everybody's afraid of something. So I think, it's time for us. And it's because of what we just went through this past, 8 years of this softness, and everybody's the same, and this misdefinition of diversity and all these different things, is like we've gotten away from just common sense and respect for one another. If you act like an asshole, then you should be dealt with. If you threaten me and my family directly or indirectly, and we're in the same bubble, you need your ass kicked. You need to be zip tied down and then punched in the throat. You know,
What if he kicks your ass while you're trying to kick his ass for threatening you?
I
Then
try.
does he get arrested as far as that goes? I mean, at some point, it's got to stop. What if we're wrong? What if we are overreacting? And that's the point with, I get that you have a limited time to react because everybody's got a weapon these days. But at the same time, I mean, how far does it go?
Well,
We've got to have some amount of control.
I'm not going to be wrong. And like, it's very cut and dry. You on plane, guy gets up, guy turns around to plane, throws a fit and says, I'm going to kill all of you. That's what I'm not talking about guessing about any of this. I'm talking about it plain as day. This is what happens. Then you look at the team, you know, every guy, when you get on a plane, you look at your team. Everybody does that, right? You guys do that? Pew, pew.
Well, we have the air marshals on there to help out, but no, I don't look at a team. But if he's threatening the plane, then I agree with you. That seems straightforward. It's just, where does the assholiness turn into an actual threat with the ability to carry it out versus he's had too many drinks up there? Because there's lots of assholes in the plane, and I'm sure I've been one. I wouldn't like my ass kicked by 3 guys at that point, because who's the asshole police?
Well, the threat is acting uncivilized in a civilized situation.
Who defines that? I mean, if you look at some of the election stuff that we've had on whatever spectrum you're on in the political arena, you could have been kicking asses left and right.
Okay.
I mean,
to answer your question, I am the asshole police. All right. I will be the judge. Anybody is on a plane and you're wondering if you should kick their ass and zip tie them to a chair, call me. So, and I will tell you whether to do it or not.
So will this case be set the precedent now, like that we have one of these?
I hope so.
Like this, like they go off.
No, it's just each case is on its own for self-defense. I mean, you just never know. It's sort of like saying the thing in Florida where the guy killed the unarmed young black man for just walking down the street. He was acquitted. That doesn't mean you can now, because you see somebody that doesn't seem to belong in a neighborhood because you think so. You can't just shoot him, or a kid jogging in South Georgia in the middle of the day because there've been burglaries that he must be doing it, so we shoot him. It just
that case, Manny.
A lot of people supported those people, and so the question is, was it right or was it wrong? And
so when the Trayvon stuff happened, I remember saying on the air, because it's literally 15 minutes from my house, and I was good friends with the mayor of Sanford at the time, Jeff Triplett, which I just found out recently he's no longer alive, I guess. At least that's what I was told. So a very sad, nice guy, white guy, and was just blamed for everything because he was a white. I mean, it turned into a racial thing. Zimmerman's not white, and Zimmerman was a tackleberry. He was trying to be something. He wanted to be a cop. He wanted to be this, and he's none of those things. But that whole thing was screwed up from the very beginning. And I remember talking about it on day one, and I remember saying this in the air, like plain as day. I go, this case is going to be a big deal. I said, Central Florida, get ready. This is not going away. Sanford, buckle up. I remember saying that. And literally 2 days later, you had marches and protests and Black Panther and I mean, all this stuff going, not the movie, but the people. And it was a thing. And I'm talking to the mayor and my buddy Jeff, and I'm going, dude, I feel for you. He's like, this is bad. He's like, I'm trying to fix it. And he was such a good soul, a good person that had no hate in his body whatsoever. And he just wanted the right thing to happen. And his job was not to decide the fate of George Zimmerman, but his job was to make sure the people of Sanford felt safe and were safe. And he tried his best. And I mean, you had to bring in Black leaders outside of Sanford to say, hey, no, Jeff's my boy, man. JT's my boy. It was the oddest situation. And I'm following the whole thing in front and behind the scenes. And that was a rough one, man. But that Zimmerman guy, dude, that dude I called him this from day one. I called him a tackleberry. You know what I mean by that? From Police Academy.
Zimmerman was half white and half Hispanic, and so mostly white, I guess, is however he identifies him. It doesn't matter.
You're right.
But a lot of people supported him. That's the whole thing. It's like you're arguing now he's a tackleberry. That's your opinion. I could probably go on the street in Georgia, South Georgia, that said, absolutely, you fucking do that. I mean, people supported the guy that was killed, the people that killed those 3 brothers that killed that young black kid in South Georgia a couple of years ago, were in support of it. So the perspective is there, and that's the whole issue, is to when it's subjective as to who's an asshole, you open yourself up to a lot. Now, this thing in New York has exposed a lot of stuff, but it'll go by the wayside. We also had one in New York in the subway that was killing people that were crooks and stuff on the subway a few years back, maybe in the 90s or something. I can't remember his name. And that had the same kind of super high media attention. But those are very unique circumstances. And if we say it's okay and we should glorify these people, you're just encouraging others to do something similar, and it's innocent people are going to get hurt. When that happens.
What happened at the beginning of that case that fueled the race fire was the networks, MSNBC in particular, took that 911 audio, and as they do, and I understand you've got to do certain things for time, I get it. So they edited the first part of that 911 call, and the way that they edited it made it just came across more racist to people. And it was a portion of, God, it's been so long. It was a portion of it where the 911 operator had asked Zimmerman to describe the Trayvon. And instead of what the 911 operator said, I think I'm getting this right. He was like, is Hispanic, and went through a list of different ethnicities.
Yeah, there's not too many Hispanic Zimmermans out there, so we'll just.
So it was a list of like 3 or 4 different ethnicities. But the way that the news edited it went straight to black, or it actually skipped all that part. And he was like, it was a black guy, or there was something weird and fishy at the beginning. And I remember listening to some of these people that came into town to protest and march and all that stuff. They just use that part of the clip. And I'm going, you guys didn't listen to the whole piece of audio. Like, you didn't listen to all of it. You didn't listen to it.
Right, but when you make it pop political, it's the same thing. I mean, it's just like people went in with assault rifles into a pizza place because there were kids being molested in the basement. Kind of that's the problematic issue when we let media and politicians hype everybody up when the truth and the facts don't seem to matter. You can just literally say anything you want in the last 10 to 12 years. I mean, everything's changed in American politics. We're open about it. And as somebody that's defended a lot of black people that have been attacked by white officers, whatever Zimmerman's phone call said, it doesn't really matter. The point is, why were you bothering a young black kid who was just walking down the street unarmed in your neighborhood?
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. It doesn't matter how they doctor any tape up, but there's just some inherent amount. To say dumb shit like there's no more racism in the country and we don't need this and we don't need that. I mean, or just the stuff that you hear nowadays, it's just dangerous.
Well, with the Daniel Penny stuff, that one guy, the black guy that's on TV calling, racist and it's a race crime. And all, like that dude, I would sue that dude. It's like, it has nothing to do with his race. It has to do with him.
Most of those talk shows, though, are entertainment. And then they even say that, just like on Fox News, we're not telling the news, it's entertainment. They are paid to have this. I've appeared on some of those shows and I did it a few times, but once the producers come to you and say, I want you to take this position and argue this against the host or do that, I was done doing it. That's why you don't see me on the national TV stuff when they call, because it's not real. You have to come up with the stuff. I can't believe 90% of the people believe half the shit that they say on there, but it gets ratings because it gets people fired up. Yeah. And we have this. The last thing in New York, I think is Bernie Getz was the guy that was shooting up the black criminals that were on the subway and stuff. And that was back in the 90s or something. People can look that up. But it's just a dangerous precedent, Jason. It may end up being the right thing, but now you're glorifying somebody. The next guy wants to be that, the copycat star, and everybody thinks it's okay. You've got the president promoting this one person. And let me tell you, that president wouldn't piss on you if you were on fire, if it had to do anything with him. But
so you're saying it's dangerous to glorify what Daniel Penny did? Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely.
But I'm not. I don't know if glorify is the word I'd use.
You're bringing him on national TV at a game in a different state to say you're a great hero and stuff, and somebody else sees it. So the next guy that says, "Hey, he threatened me. I'm going to kill him too," and I'll get all this stuff. I mean,
but you just said it yourself. It's a case by case basis. In this case,
when you glorify it, you tell others it's okay to do this.
Yeah, it is okay to protect.
It's a sad, a somber thing. Somebody died. And I don't know if they had the ability to do it. Right. A lot of people shouldn't do a lot of things, but
yeah, what if he
just killed him?
What if
that's why
the whole train misheard him?
Maybe.
Yeah, that's a lot of people.
Well, how about every traffic stop that we have? Where people just get shot and the guy's out there, or burn. Dualu, who had a cell phone in his hand, but they thought it was a gun. You just opened up like 30 times that they shot him, and Bruce Springsteen sang a song about it. The question is, you're having untrained people making judgments quickly and people are dying. Maybe the guy was drunk, maybe it was this. Okay, I can threaten you, Jason, but that's your right to kill me unless you really think I'm going to follow through with it. I'm not saying what he did was wrong because he was acquitted, but when you glorify, you're telling other people it's just a ticking time bomb situation. And what happens if you're having a bad day on the subway and somebody says, "Hey, Jason's an asshole," or "He's looking at me funny," or "He looked at me threatening." You didn't even use the words, but you just looked at me, which could be enough in a self-defense type case, and they start kicking your ass. I'm trying to go too far down the road, but we can't have essentially de facto vigilantism unless there's a real self-defense issue. And we've had lots of self-defense acquittals. We don't take them to the governor's mansion and promote them and say all that kind of stuff. You just, thank God that you're okay and you didn't get held accountable.
Let me bring in the Iron Fisted one. There's Chuck Lunsford finally joining us with his saliva hoodie. I did not know you.
Do not walk in my neighborhood looking like that, Chuck, at night. They can't tell. You might get shot.
Back
to I've got a tough neighborhood.
I go from white to black real quick. White, black.
Back to the glorifying part. Back to the glorifying part. What you're saying is that again, I wouldn't use the word glorifying, but I don't think there's anything wrong with telling people to stick up for yourself and those around you. Defend yourself. Everybody's scared to death, including law enforcement, to do anything because of the political nature, the climate out there. I can tell you.
But we created that, Jason, and everybody's armed to the teeth. And whether you believe in the Second Amendment or not, it's creating more of a fear. And I'm hoping Chuck, the big reasonable person, as we talked about his grandmother's case up in Detroit or whatever it was.
He wants to kill that.
You're on a subway here. The law said you're clear. Okay, read the stories and understand it. But for the president-elect to bring you up and prop you up and put you on national TV, that's glorifying the behavior and saying it's okay. Legally, it may have ended up being okay, but somebody still died. It's not something you want to promote. So then the guy like Chuck, who's wearing a hoodie, if it's dark outside and I can't tell if he's black or white and he's walking through my gated community, do I get to take him out because do I get to go full Zimmerman on him?
Chuck's a killer. He's a murderer.
I'll say this, man. I think that we live in a world where fewer and fewer people every day are willing to step up and protect other people because they're worried about being tried and convicted and put away. And I'm one of those people. I used to be the one that I would immediately think if I'm in this situation, I'd put my life on the line for a total stranger. And when I see how some of these people are treated, I'm like, that total stranger is now just me and my family. So in this situation, I'm not saying we should, put them on a pedestal, but I think we need to do something to make people realize it's okay. It's okay to defend people. It's okay to defend the weak. It's okay.
But we can educate them. We don't need to glorify the guy in a game and give him notoriety and publicity. And God knows, like some of the others, might be running for office, 2 years from now, saying, "Hey, I was such as a famous guy." How many of those have you seen? So for like Joe the plumber, remember he was a big deal like 6-8 years ago, ran for office. It gets a little out of hand because everybody's armed. It's scary. And you want to defend it. And I would actually stand up for people, but now it's gotten to the point where you're in public. I'm scared to speak up because you just don't know who's packing heat. It's helped me control my road rage a lot because people just shoot each other in traffic. So I don't honk at people or do any of that stuff anymore because it's dangerous and everybody wants to be tough on crime until it happens to them. And I'm just telling you, you put yourself at risk. And I'll give you an example. There was a party, not even a party, in a basement of a home in a very wealthy part of Atlanta. 3 teenage girls, a junior and 2 seniors in college. 2 of them are 18, 1 17. 17-year-old's house. The girls are baking cookies, just having a girl time kind of thing. And they get a bottle of wine. Between the 3 of them, they drink a bottle, maybe a little over a bottle. The driver is now 0.04, which is what we know, right? 0.08 is a legal limit if you're 21. If you're under 21, it's 0.02, which is basically if you sniff a beer, you're illegal. They decide to go for a joyride. There's a part of the neighborhood called the such and such 100, where the teenage kids try to drive at 100 miles an hour if they can.
Sounds fun.
3 girls go out. The girl who owns the home, she's in the back seat. One of her friends is driving, who owns the car, and then there's another person in the front passenger seat. They're clocking it in their little Mazda small SUV. I mean, these are young kids, right? They don't really know how to drive. There's one curve in this long straightaway of a couple of miles. Plow right into a tree, never hit the brakes, lost control. Front seat passenger dies. The girl who owns the house, her spleen's injured. She's got lots of injuries that'll be somewhat permanent. The driver has no injuries. Driver's charged with vehicular homicide based on alcoholism and speeding. And you think, okay, not unreasonable. 9 months later, they decide we are going to charge the parents that own the house for not supervising their kid well enough when these girls were there, and they've now been charged with involuntary manslaughter. And these are very successful, never been in trouble people, high-end folks in big companies are now facing manslaughter charges because the DAs decided that they weren't good enough parents to keep a watch over these kids. And if anybody has had parents, all their kids have drank in the basement. I can guarantee you that, unless you're like a homeschooling odd kind of thing, you know, in the Mormon world or something. And thank God, because I know sometimes my daughter had people over, but you go down there, oh, Dad, you're embarrassing me. We don't bother with it. And thankfully, nobody got hurt because most of those kids take Ubers and all that kind of stuff. But it happened here. Could you imagine, Chuck, because your teenage daughter had a glass of wine and then her friend crashed the car and somebody died, you will be charged with manslaughter?
I think that's a little over the top. I think if
We're
your kid,
living it. I mean, it just happened. If you Google the AJC thing,
yeah,
Nate and I are working it. I mean, it's insane, and they're scared to death. It's like every parent's worst nightmare
Well,
because some politicians said that's what I think it means.
I've got to correct you though. Not every parent has had a teenager drink in the basement. Florida, we don't have basements.
I was about to say.
Okay.
There was
In
one.
the attic, then whatever.
in the attic.
Yes, your daughter never drank, Jason. She was the good one. She
Yeah.
said, "I am not 21 yet."
Not in the basement. I can tell you that right now. She I'm not saying she hasn't had a drink. I know she has actually, but she did not have it in the
Right.
basement.
And just think, if you let her walk out there and somebody got hurt, manslaughter on you.
Yeah. That seems to be a thing though. I mean, we're now charging parents, you know, like school shooters, right? Which nobody has a problem with because a lot
Well,
of
those
times,
are also issues on those cases, Jason. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I mean, those kids had counselors and they came to the parents, and in one case, like the guy that went, was it Wisconsin or Illinois or whatever, and the mom dropped him off with the assault rifle when the riots, Minnesota, I guess, during the Rodney King
It was in Kenosha.
Kenosha, they dropped him off. That's an issue. And then the other school shooting in Michigan, the parents were told, take him away. We think he's this. And they're like, no, he gets to stay here. The facts were a little different versus just sort of letting your kids have a good time downstairs, and now you're charged with manslaughter.
I understand that. My point is that seems to be a running thing. We're charging the parents on certain things, and sometimes I think it's justified, sometimes I don't. And we're also charging drug dealers, which I love that idea. I've always loved that idea. I'm like, why don't you go after the drug dealer that sold the guy drugs? I mean, you know, that would be a great way to get him off the streets. So, you know, there's a different way of doing these things now. That's the change in our world that we're starting to see. So I don't know. Look, Pew Pew, you've been quiet throughout this whole thing. And I think if I ask you your opinion on any of it, you're going to take an hour to get to it. Your point. Unless you have something small to add, Pew Pew, would you like, and please only add something if you're going to disagree with your boss, Mad Dog.
I think as far as the school shooter stuff goes, it does really kind of tick me off how the parents in our case have been likened to the school shooters, because I think it is a completely different scenario.
Wait a minute. You have a case that you guys are working with parents linked to a school shooter? Is that what you just said?
No. He's talking about the parents that didn't supervise the kids that drank a glass of wine as the equivalent to school shooters as far as being negligent parenting.
Oh, gotcha. Well, I think that's a little bit.
Yeah, I think there in the newspaper and whatnot, there's been some, you know, similarities between the two presented. I just think they're completely different scenarios that ought to be treated completely.
Well, they're probably going to go after you, Manny. I think you misspoke and you said they were a junior and senior in college. You meant high school.
High school. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
yes,
17 and 18. I think the argument that they're going to make, at least the prosecution, is like, look, if they're living under your roof like a gun, it should be locked up. Same with the alcohol, even though there's no law, I don't think, on either, right? Of locking up.
About what? No, it's just whichever prosecutor wants to set the example will say that you're negligent, and negligent is just this generic thing, like being threatened. What is a threat? You may be a tougher guy and you may not be threatened by a lot of things. I may be a wimp and I'm like, oh my God, he's going to get me. It's very subjective. I mean, at some point, what are you supposed to do? Every one of us on this screen drank in high school.
Oh,
Thankfully, we didn't get in trouble or we didn't have an accident, but theoretically, we were this close to having our parents under this logic
Oh my God,
indicted for manslaughter.
If I would have
I don't know.
If I would have known that, I would have gotten in more accidents.
Send your mom to jail.
Jesus, I would have shot people. I would have done stuff. If I knew that she was going to go to jail, oh my goodness. I mean, that would have learned her. I think that would have made our relationship better. Once she gets out, I think we would have been straight like skull, but that's just me saying. Do you want some questions from the two peers, Manny and Pew Pew? Pew Pew, I want you to get in on these. These are good ones, okay? They're a lot different, at least I think, from questions in the past. By the way, anytime you want to shoot me a question for the Mad Dog Manny Aurora with the Aurora Law Firm, just go to thebaileyshow.com. I'd prefer an email, but if you want to do it on social media, that's fine. You can get all the information on thebaileyshow.com. Here we go. This one now is titled Jason and Manny, so I get a chance to reply. I hear that being a court reporter, you make good money. How do I become one? Is there a certain program that I should go to? Also looking at being an intake assistant at a law firm. Any advice? Mad Dog?
Well, let Pew Pew take this one. It's pretty easy.
Yeah, so I know there's like schools you can go and get a certificate in court reporting. I think you probably just look up the nearest one to you and go check that out. As for becoming an assistant at a law firm, get on, Indeed.com and start applying. I think that's the best advice.
When they say reporters, it's like the people standing outside the courtroom, like talking about it.
No. The court reporters are the ones that are typing. It's the Brown College of Court Reporting in Atlanta is here. It's like a year and a half or so program, but you have to learn a certain type of code for the words because it's all symbols, because you have to type as fast as they're talking and you're not spelling out the words, but certain, symbols mean certain words to them. And it's also recorded, and they go back and they listen to the recordings and double check their work.
I got a question for Manny. How do I become a weatherman?
You can stand and say, do this, do
Brandon.
that. Or you can have this and
court reporting.
Dye your hair blonde.
Literally the dumbest occupation I think that exists.
We need the transcripts. You got to have. The AI is going to take care of all that stuff. But
that's what I'm saying.
People doing it.
And I'll also say my grandmother was a court reporter for about 20 years or so, and
that was great when your grandmother was a court reporter. But now, literally, you don't need somebody learning some new language to type on this. Well, type when you have AI, just have Amazon.
Well, I'm going to give you some pushback there because I do the AI transcription a lot, and it is never fully accurate. And the importance of these records, like when you go to trial and then you go up to appeal that case for one reason or another, the only thing you can review on that appeal is the transcripts taken by the court reporter. So if they're not accurate, then there is no way of knowing what actually happened.
I don't disagree with you, Pew Pew, and that's what's going to make it more fun. Is words aren't going to be correct, and they're going to be all over the place. Like when you go and spell check and you're trying to write bigger and it changes it to something else. And you're like, oh shit, I'm glad I saw that before I sent it. You know what I mean? Can you imagine your court case documents when you come back and you're like, I didn't say that? It's going to be hilarious. I mean, is it your job?
I mean, unless you're the defendant, it's all fun and gravy. But the court reporters, for the question, I mean, I think they have a little box that they type on. It's only got like 15 keys or something less than that. And you hit it in a certain order to make certain words. And it's a pretty challenging job, but it pays insanely well.
I heard
you're getting like $4 or $5 a page, especially on civil cases. Oh my God. They'll clear several $100,000 if you're good at it.
Yeah. Damn. I've always heard that.
Wait, why don't they just record it and then just go back and type it?
Because sometimes you need live transcription, and so they're doing it simultaneously, and it's also being recorded, and you want it accurate. But like I said, as AI gets better, it'll probably end up being a thing of the past. But we're probably 5 to 10 years away.
And they're never hot. No offense to your grandmother, but like they're never. Have you ever seen them on TV? The news they're just stuffy, but they got a real freak side to them. They're like school teachers. Anybody want to agree with me on that or no?
I don't know many school teachers, so I can't say.
Yeah, well, it's because school teachers are freaks. I mean, like during the day, they're like, "Hello, class, and you need to learn about George Washington and make sure that you do this." And they're very tight.
They all have British accents.
They're all British, and then they go to happy hour, and they're like, "You up for a threesome with me and the biology teacher?" They're freaks. Teachers are freaks.
Do I see some of the teachers that used to go to where I went to school with now out in the bars, and they get wild. They do.
Yeah, but that's Brandon's teachers, and you know what kind of education he got. So
He was the valedictorian.
exactly right. Yeah, named the most likely to succeed in his class. All right, Mad Dog. Here's another question. First, let me say that I love you guys. Here's my question. My husband is in jail. He's an all right guy, but he's a criminal. I don't have much money, and I can't do much for my kids this year. Doesn't help that I just got laid off from my job. Would I get child support and any extra money from him if I divorced him? I'm thinking it'd be better for me and my kid if I did that.
So what happens, assuming this is in the state of Georgia, is in order to figure out the amount of child support, they look at how much you make, how much the person makes, and what your total salary is together, and then who's going to have primary custody of it. And then you look at that income amount, who's got primary custody, and you look in a table, and it'll tell you whether you're getting $500 a month, whether you're getting $5,000 a month, something like that. Georgia caps out at like 3,000 or 4,000. But yeah, you would get child support if you're the primary person after the divorce goes through.
He ain't got no job. He's in jail. How the hell he got any money?
Right, but you still have to be required to work. Otherwise, you can't shirk your responsibilities and not take care of your kids. But each side has a responsibility because whether you're working or not, you got to take care of them. It's going to cost something. So you're encouraged to get a job.
Manny, you're not required to pay child support if you're in jail, are you?
Sometimes you get put in jail because you haven't paid your child support, and I always found that to be kind of stupid. Then how the hell are you supposed to come up with it? But yes, you are required to pay child support no matter what, but you have to get it modified. If you go to jail, you have to let the court know that we're going to put this on hold so the child support continues to accrue, and when you get out, you got to make up the arrears, as they call it, over time.
So
child support is not taxable, so if you're getting it, it's not taxed.
I'm kind of reading this like the guy's got money. And so she wants to divorce him to just get paid off because it would be better that way because she's not getting said money. I mean, maybe I'm misreading it.
And child support isn't meant for your support. That's alimony and things of that nature. This is supposed to be just for the kids. So a lot of the clients that we have in that quasi-criminal divorce situation where they're accusing them, we tell them, put the child support in a trust account and have a third person manage it, do things like that if you really think mom or the child's mother is going to spend it on Gucci shoes or blow it off and not take care of the kids. So we're getting down in the weeds, but you get child support, otherwise you go to jail.
Okay, so take the child support out of it. Okay, because this is this is how I'm understanding this question: is that her husband's in jail? He's a criminal, not a bad guy. He's just a criminal, so he's not the greatest guy. But she needs money, and he's got money. And she's not getting any money, but if she divorces him, she'll get the money. So I guess the overall question would be for anyone, is it better to divorce somebody that's going to jail for a long period of time so you can get some of that money, or stay with them? And I guess you'd never get the money.
Well, if that's your husband, you're entitled to that money to begin with because it's community property as far as that goes. So I'm not sure what would happen. Did the lady say she was married to this person or just the children's father?
She said, first, let me say that I love you guys. Here's my question. My husband is in jail. Yeah.
Right. So is the money from her first marriage? Theoretically, the money she should have it accessed unless he's hiding it. And that's why she would want it in child support. But again, child support is not for her. It's just for the children. So it also seems like she needs to be taken care of. And that would be more of an alimony situation.
Yeah. And that's the thing, guys. If you want to learn anything from this question for Manny, is you always hide money from your wife. Always make sure you got a little nest egg that she does not know about.
So if this guy, let's say he stayed in jail till his kid was like 18 and he turned 18 and he gets out, he still has to pay that, right? But he just gives that to the kid and not the wife.
I don't know. I haven't thought that far ahead as far as who it goes because it's generally meant for the kids. But if you're in jail the whole time and you don't have the ability to pay, most judges would have just canceled out, that amount because you're doing a life sentence or you're doing 20 years. It's just not going to happen. So I would have just gotten the child support modified.
That's what I'm saying. Like if he went in when he was like a baby and he got 20 years and then, the kid's 20 and he gets out, like, did he have to pay all 18 years of child support?
I wouldn't think so, but I don't want to say anything wrong as far as I go. It would make no sense to say, yeah, you pay him. It's not like you're getting a payday. And how's he going to get the money for 18 years of back child support?
Well, there you go, guys. If you don't want to pay child support, just go to jail.
They were already supported. They were already supported by somebody for 18 years, so it's all good.
Chuck,
You
would
don't
you
get a
stay,
golden goose at the end.
Chuck, would you stay with Megan if she went to jail for a long period of time?
How long is a long period of time?
You tell me.
Well, she's 8 years younger than me. I'd give her like 3 years.
3 years. Okay, so 3 years. She goes to jail. She sends anything longer than 3 years. You okay? Do you divorce her before she goes in? I mean, that's a lot to take in before she goes to jail. Or do you wait for her to go in?
I don't even tell her we're divorced. I wait until like she's getting ready to get released, and I've already had like another family, and I have another wife and everything.
Yeah, but I think in that case, if Chuck divorced his wife, he would have to give her money for while she's in jail, right?
I'd probably have to fill her
For
canteen
what?
up. I'd have to give her canteen money, like
For
$20 a
alimony.
week or something, like alimony.
There's no alimony when you're sitting in jail. Plus, it depends.
But I would do it. I mean, I'd still give her like food for Snickers and stuff, and
Right.
like the nice tampons.
So
But
that's
But you can't divorce her without her signing the papers either.
Oh no,
even
no,
if
no.
she's
She
in
would.
jail.
I would. So this would be my idea, right? So if she's in jail, what's the common law marriage situation in Georgia? How long you got to live with a woman?
There isn't one anymore. There used to be
Oh,
one years
that was
ago,
my
but
that was my plan.
I like the country kid and cousin thing. It's all over. You got to be actually married, otherwise you got nothing.
So I would just live with somebody.
Here's the thing, Chuck.
Unless you get them pregnant, then there's going to be other issues that
You
come up
got to
from
figure
that
it out
with the
now.
child support.
So here's the thing, Chuck. That's what you bring up a good point. Is that you can get out off the hook a lot easier if they're already in jail and say, hey, look, for the next 3+ years, you don't need anything except stuff from the commissary.
Yeah.
Buns, Snickers, like you said. So you're like, we're getting a divorce. The only thing that you're going to get is for the remainder of time that you're in jail, I'm going to pay you $100 a month for the commissary.
Oh, yeah, she's rolling
Right.
in.
So you're not giving up half. You're not getting giving her any of your 401k. Dude, that's brilliant. So that's a great lesson to learn. If you're going to divorce somebody and they just happen to be going to jail, or you can find a way to send them to jail, then just tell them you're giving money for the commissary. Brilliant.
Yeah, and you want her to meet the new woman because she's going to be raising the kids and everything. So it'd be cool to be able to do that with a glass partition between you. That way, there's it's so organized and safe. It's actually, if you're going to do it, that's the way to do it.
Yeah, that's a great point. So she can't get out of control because she'll have handcuffs.
I don't know. You seen Goodfellas when she got out and then she found the other bitch that he was banging?
Yeah, but like I said, she's 8 years younger than me. I'm 45. I mean, what, 10 years? I mean, that's a long, I'm in my mid 50s. She's not going to get violent. She'd find some other woman in jail and she'd be happy.
Yeah, you can just get off the hook a lot better that way. And you promise I'll write you a letter once a month. I'll send you pictures of the kids and
Yep.
and all that. I'll come and visit you. And if you want to, all that stuff. Anyway, sorry. Pew pew. Agree with that? That's good stuff, right?
Yeah, be careful who you marry. That's my thought.
Right. You going out on any
That's
more?
the only single guy out here.
Well, I don't know. He had a girl that he was talking to. I don't know if you're aware of this. He met some girl on the old interwebs.
Oh, that was a
The
Twitter.
Tinder, Tinder girl.
And they hit it off, and she went out of the country, I think, for a little bit, but I think she's back now, right?
Still on vacation.
That's what she's telling me.
Yeah. Wasn't it like Sleepless in Seattle or whatever it was where they say, yeah, I'm flying off to Ireland the next day after they had their one night stand? And it wasn't Sleepless in Seattle. It was like one of those 80s rom-com kind of things.
Is that the one where they met at the top of the Empire State Building?
That's the Tom Hanks movie. That wouldn't have any panache to it as far as this is just two people met in a club, but it was a movie based out of Seattle, but it was sort of like St. Elmo's Fires in that genre kind of thing from the late 80s, early 90s.
I don't know what movie you're talking about. I'm straight. I don't watch that.
Yeah, and the guy said, oh, I'm shipping off. We're going to Ireland because that's where I live the next day. And then 2 days later, she sees him in another bar in Seattle.
Have you talked to this girl, or is her cell phone not working too?
No, she's, I don't want to incur any roaming fees.
Right.
Oh my God.
Oh, she's roaming.
Yeah, she's wrong.
I told him, the Apple, it's free to FaceTime people, but whatever.
Yeah. So
Wherever they are in the world.
You have not. Is that the answer? You have not spoken to her?
No.
Yeah. That's not probably. Have you gone out on any more dates?
No, not in the last couple of weeks. I've been a little busy.
I like how he thought about it. He's like, No.
Yeah.
She's out of the country.
Cast the line, Pew Pew. Throw the bobber in the water. It's time. I don't think she's coming back to you. I think
She might, but she's definitely going on other dates out there.
No, vacations is
Yeah.
what I called it.
The thing about fishing, you don't catch all of them, right?
Yeah, she's probably been pregnant 5 times over since your date. I mean, she's out there doing her thing. There's no
Well,
doubt.
I'm not paying any child support. I'll have you know that much.
That's
There
right.
you go.
Damn right. Yeah. Well, let's set up another date. Christmas time. There's plenty. It's a great time to be single. So many lonely girls. And you just take them out to dinner. You buy them a stuffed teddy bear or something like that. You don't have to go over the top. Don't get them anything expensive. This is such a great time to be a single guy. I remember, and that's never going to change because you've got women that are upset and depressed. They don't have anybody to spend it with. They need somebody to talk to. They need somebody to spend time with. Dude, you can just rack up the beautiful babies in the next couple weeks.
Yeah, I don't know that depressed is my target necessarily, but I appreciate the advice.
Well, that's what
Depressed and hungry are very close in time, especially with New Year's coming around.
Yeah, that's right. And it rolls over to New Year's, and you can make plans for New Year's. Usually by then you'll figure out they'll snap out of it and they're gonna be like, nah, I'm just gonna go with my friends, but you can join us if you want. And then you just don't want to do that. But I mean, look, if you want to find an easy release, I'm just saying that's a good play.
Well, I like it. I'll add it to the playbook.
Yeah.
I think, Peepy, did you get new curtains or are you not in the same place?
No, I'm house sitting for a friend. I'm over at his place.
Oh, girlfriend?
Is he elderly?
No, he's also in Europe.
Wow.
Those things look like my grandma had those for years.
Does he happen to be an 80-year-old author?
No, but his fiance, her style direction is grandmother's house, and
I nailed it.
My vibe, but he's going along with it
by choice. Those are the ugliest.
Well, so they've got this whole bedspread. It's got all this frilly stuff on it. I asked him, I was like, is that the kind of bedspread you like? And he said, well, I'm not a no frills kind of guy. And
next time we see people, he'll be sitting on a floral pastel couch
or a canopy bed.
So what do you house what's wrong with the house? Why does it need to be sad?
Does it run away?
Well, really, it's more about the dog. Hugo is
your dog's
yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, your dog's sitting. So are you living there while they're gone?
Yeah, I'm just staying here, taking care of all that.
Whose house in your house?
No one.
You gotta find someone else. Create
I think it'll be all right.
endless job. Fine.
No, he literally he's got nothing. It's sad, right? I mean, he's got nothing at the house. He's got books, law books.
What would have made that awesome is if Manny would have said, "Me, I'm at Pew Pew's house right now."
The best thing about Pew Pew's house is that it's right next to a Panda Express, and I can go to town on some Panda. Tell you that.
Hell yeah!
Next time you come on, just have a Panda Express thing and just be eating it. What's up?
Well, have you really been over to Pew Pew's house before?
I know where it is, but I've not been inside.
Oh, we drop him off?
No, I mean, I literally pass by it twice a day because it's on the way to the office.
But how do you know where he lives is my question.
I have his address because I have to send him checks and stuff like that, and they have to tell us all that stuff for their employment forms.
So you memorized where he lives and just happen to drive by it often?
He's got to go to work.
It is 5
It's
minutes.
on Roswell Road. I mean, it's like
Yeah, I
it's
understand
5
that,
minutes from the office.
but if you never drop somebody off,
I know the apartment complex. I do not know the apartment number off the top of my head. I know it's right behind the Panda Express, and that's how I know it.
When Manny
Weird
said he'd
shit.
drive by twice a day, I thought he was about to say when he goes to Panda twice a day. I'm like, damn,
Yeah,
Panda Express twice a day.
I'm just wondering why the boss knows where you live and drives by it so often. I just
Well,
think
because like the office is here, my house is here, his house is here. It's on the main road.
have you been to Manny's house, Pew Pew?
Yeah, several times
And why?
for parties and such.
What's the such? I mean, he's only had one party in a year.
No, there's been a couple.
Oh.
Well,
We have off parties for the office people, so they come over. My wife cooks, or we have people over. We get it catered, but then we've also had some bigger parties as a part of our marketing to get more neighbors and clients and stuff in the house checking it out.
Cool. Just checking. Just thought it was a little odd. Never mind. I was wrong. You guys were right. It's
No, I mean literally, I drive by it. I don't know where exactly his apartment is. I just know the complex is behind the Panda because I love that Panda.
What's funny is like we look behind Pew Pew and we just see Manny's actually doing this podcast outside the
At the Panther.
It's sort of like when your sidekick went over there and said, I got to look at the time. I'm like, oh, well, shit, they're in the same studio.
Yeah, why do you keep leaving your seat? I mean, I've never
Well-
left my seat so much in my studio. Now that you're in my studio, you've left 4 times.
I've left twice. I had to go down to pee, and Ariel was in the shower. So I'm like, all right, well, I'll just grab another beer. And then I'm like, oh, it's getting bad. So I texted Rachel. I was like, she's still in the shower. I got to pee. She said, yeah, you can use our bathroom. So I went in your bathroom.
Okay.
Had to pee, man.
Pee a lot. Like you're an old person.
Well, I drink a lot of water today, and I'm drinking a little bit of beer.
No, all right. Last
Water.
question for you, Mad Dog. Hey, Mad Dog. A friend of mine got busted for counterfeit bills last weekend, but they weren't his. He went to Target, bought some Christmas gifts, paid cash. The change he got were counterfeit bills. He then went to another store and tried to use those bills and was arrested. How do you prove those weren't his bills?
Well, first we need to know the denomination, because if it's generally 20s or higher, they use the pen on it to know. And all the Targets, Walmarts, all that do it. So I'm a little suspicious when they say that when they made change, Target or whoever gave him fake money,
Right.
and then he was caught. But that's a defense you have to say that I got it through there. I'd have my receipts from Target to say I paid such and such in cash. And in Target or Walmart, they have cameras on everything out there, so they could probably track everything down if it's done within a few days. As far as that goes, and you could easily prove that there's counterfeit money in that till.
Yeah, but you're
But
still
I-
getting arrested until that time, though, right?
Yeah, because they have counterfeit money, and the police are like, "We'll arrest first, ask questions later." Is generally how it works, just like with the self-defense stuff.
Oh.
And
Guilty
you have
until
the
proven
ability to do it.
Oh.
Guilty until proven rich, as they say. But whatever.
That sucks. Like if that's in fact true and they weren't your bills, you're sitting in
Right, but
jail.
everybody at Target, if you've ever been, they have that little highlighter looking thing that they scrub on everything. Generally, even at Publix, if it's more than a 20, every time they do it, they do
Yeah.
that. So I find it hard to believe that the store accepted fake money and then they're passing it back out, which means that it had to have happened the same day, because all the money gets taken up at the end of the evening and then they restock in the morning.
I'm
So-
still waiting at the poker room because the hundreds of dollars just exchanging hands all the time, right? You get felt it, you pull out $1,000, $2,000, hundreds on the table, they take the marker. I still to this day have not seen a counterfeit bill. I cannot wait for that day. Like that's why I go to the poker room now, is waiting for somebody to get caught with a counterfeit bill.
And you're the one that's going to be caught with it, which is
Right.
going to be the best part.
It's
Like,
gonna be- it's going to be me. Yeah, that's right.
And they say, he's the asshole, kick his ass. He gets strangled out, choked out at the front.
Yeah. I'm going to be
We
running.
made this come full circle now. Here you are. You're threatening me by giving me fake money. You're trying to rip me off.
Pew Pew, have you gotten Manny anything for Christmas?
Yeah, I got him some counterfeit money. Actually, I think it's
Mix it in with the real.
That's
See how
fine.
long it takes.
So is that a thing at the Aurora Law Firm where everybody, kind of wants to kiss the boss's ass and you bring in a little prize, you put it on a table and they all stack up and
I
no.
have not had that happen, but I love being treated that way. Most of them just mouth off too much. And I'm just trying to be nice in my old age and not just fire people on the spot.
okay.
So I get taken advantage of sometimes.
All right.
But we've got a good group. We had to downsize by one. Now we're lean with 5 lawyers and a couple of staff. It's good.
That's a good way to say you had to fire someone. We had to downsize by one. That's a good
No,
way to say it.
people want to pursue other opportunities. Doesn't mean you got fired.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Pew Pew. I can see Pew Pew was talking shit and got him out. It was
No.
like, hey, look, this is my gig now. I'm Pew Pew. I'm a big deal. I'm a celebrity. I'm doing cases. Manny loves me. He drives by my house a lot. Look, we need to get Frank out of here.
Let's
Frank's
downsize them.
kind of a
Or-
pain in the ass.
Listen, my star
Pew
was
became
not
a full-time. Yeah, his star isn't there, but he became a full-time employee after he passed the bar in October, and he's already gotten a raise, thanks
Whoa.
to lighter in the loafers with one less person on staff. So we
Ah,
gave everybody
see?
like 10+% raises.
You got a raise because you guys fired Frank.
and I do a good job. Let's not
Well,
forget.
That's why he got hired. So
Well,
he's now
Eric-
been a lawyer for 3 months, and it's been good.
3 months and a raise. Something fishy going on there. I'll tell you that right now. So
There's gonna be a lot of orange chicken on my desk next week.
yeah.
They get the bigger bowl for you.
what are you getting? What are you getting your boss for Christmas, Pew Pew?
I guess some orange chicken and a Diet Coke from McDonald's.
No, what, the
Oh,
Panda Express. You said you like Panda Express. Give him a
Nah,
Panda.
so he likes the Diet Coke from the McDonald's. It's,
Oh, who doesn't? Sure.
I'll get a Diet Coke from McDonald's and take it into a restaurant. I don't care. I just like their soda so much better.
Okay, look, I'm trying to be serious. I want a fucking answer. What are you getting him for Christmas? Answer me.
That really is a serious answer. I might get him some orange chicken and a Diet
So
Coke.
you haven't gotten him anything yet.
No.
We got like 10 days till Christmas, plenty of time.
What the shit, man? You should have had this done 2 weeks ago.
Dude, you can't
I haven't got my wife anything. What am I worried about asking him to get this? Look, he's wearing a really sweet sweatshirt. If you could see it, it's got a beautiful. He designed those and had the swag done and stuff like that.
Manny, I'm telling you, you got to be careful with this kid, dude. I think you're putting him over a little bit too fast. I can see it in his eyes. It's gonna backfire. I know you got a lot of faith in him, and I like him too. Stop listening for a second. I like him too, but I'm telling you, he's getting a little big for his britches, and you're getting a little soft, man. I'm just telling you.
Yeah, that Supreme Court argument really helped him get confident about a lot of things.
You need to knock him down a peg. Give him a shitty case that he has to lose.
Well, that's most of our cases. You just try really hard, but the system is the way it is. You're generally going to lose cases, and hopefully you can do good damage control.
All right. All right. You can listen again, Pew Pew. All right. We're just talking about how great of a guy you are and how much promise you have if you were a law firm.
Well, that's so sweet.
What are you doing for Christmas, Pew Pew? You got any plans?
I'm probably going down to LaGrange, hang out with family.
Okay.
He never saw me on Thanksgiving when he came down.
No, I got caught up. I got a little speeding ticket on my way through Noonan, unfortunately.
Oh, was it county or Noonan PD?
No, well, it was Fairburn. It was Fairburn.
Ooh, that's rough. Yeah, Union City Fairburn cops.
Yeah,
That's
kind
not
of
a fun court to go to either.
Did you tell him you're a
ruined my
lawyer?
evening a little bit.
Did you try to argue? Did you tell him you're a lawyer?
Well, it's my court date's not till February, so we'll work it up by then.
No, but did you try to get out of it on the scene?
Oh no, because here's the deal: you never win your case on the roadside. It's always after.
I disagree with that. I've often won my case on the roadside.
He gets a warning, right? Right, Jason?
Yeah. I just get a warning. I mean, I've numerous times. I've only gotten like 3 speeding tickets in my life.
Did you go with, you know who I am? I've got this super podcast that's #1 on the charts and all that.
Now,
kind of stuff.
that's only worked once, and I didn't say anything. They just knew. It was a radio, back in the radio days. But the other times I was out of state actually, and so just be cool. As long as you're cool. They're like, do you know why I pulled you over?
Well,
I don't know, but I'm sure you have a great reason, and I'm most likely you're right. Kind of haha, joke, and they like that kind of stuff.
Union City and Fairburn, not so much. Terrible.
No, yeah, I mean, I did all that. Don't get me wrong. Still cut me the ticket.
Yeah, but you come across kind of
You
snarky.
unbuttoned his shirt a little bit and it just didn't work,
So,
And Brandon, I was mad that he didn't come and see you, but his family, he had to work right after Thanksgiving because we had a big case coming in.
All
And
good.
his family moved Thanksgiving like by 2 days or something, so it was all discombobulated.
All right, good. We'll see you around Christmas time if you got time. I'll be in town.
Yes,
and
sir.
the only reason Manny knew he moved is because he was driving by while they were moving in.
Nachos eating his chicken. He's like, why is there a U-Haul there?
So I can tell you why I think you pulled me over, officer, but you need to know one thing. I just argued a gummy case in front of the Supreme Court, and I work for the Mad Dog. Let's talk about this possible ticket, but let's dumb it down to a warning. What you say? Pew pew? Something like that?
Now, see, I think that whole routine is going to work a lot better on the solicitor than the cop.
Okay, I'm just saying. All right. Manny, you got big plans for Christmas? What'd you get your wife? I know you're not a big fan of celebrating shit. So, I mean, did you buy her anything?
Commercial Christmas is the bane of my existence. I have not bought anything or even thought about it yet, but I'm going to start working on it. I've got to go to Minneapolis this week and then Pittsburgh right after that, but then I'll work on it.
Are you like a Christmas Eve, December 23rd shopper?
Yes, I throw money at the problem at the last minute, and it's usually something she doesn't want, but it's expensive.
I hear
Then
you.
she'll take it back, pocket the money, and everybody's happy.
Isn't Christmas on the 25th?
Yeah, but you're a shopper on the 23rd and 24th.
Oh, you said Christmas Eve on the 23rd.
No, Christmas Eve and the 23rd. You got the 23rd
I didn't
and you
hear
got the
the
24th.
and
He
part.
just didn't say the and part, but he meant it.
You
Yeah,
heard
come
me.
on now.
You heard you. Okay.
I heard it, but I knew exactly
There's
what
a
he was
comma
talking
there.
about.
I'll do a comma.
Okay. Gotcha.
Chuck, have you bought anything yet?
Oh man, I'm almost done. I've been just Amazoning it up.
Attaboy. I had stuff shipped from California because I couldn't find it here. Actually,
No.
I had Chuck look for something for me too.
If you guys want the greatest idea for gifts, go to like a Vista Print or the any of those printing companies.
Canva.
Whatever you want, put in a picture or two and just order a crap ton of stuff that's on canvases, Christmas ornaments, posters. Dude, my whole family's getting stuff to hang on the wall, and it's not that expensive, and it looks like I really, really care.
You know
That's
what
the way you go.
you know what the number one Christmas gift is this year that's well under $100?
Socks.
Canvas.
No. Ozone infused magnesium butter from liveozonetherapyspa.com.
I thought he was going to try to plug the drug deal we did in the parking lot at Miller's Ale House with this Chinese Communist Party Chinese man.
Well, and that's a lie. It's not under $100.
My ozone butter?
Yeah, I bought the largest jug of it you have for my mom because she was like complaining and she liked it.
Is that for your skin or like for the
It's
toast?
$60
Yeah, $60
for the biggest one.
Thing, Manny.
Yeah, with the 30% off right now, holiday 30 is the code. Yeah. You
So
didn't pay
Rachel just added an extra 0 or 2. I'm gonna have to send you my receipt. Oh, I knew she messed up. It was probably Riley. She was probably working the cash register and hit a.
I told her to do it. So Brandon, this was a little odd. I'm not going to disagree with him. I took him to lunch at the Ale House, and
Miller owns it.
Yeah, Miller's Ale House, and I've been trying to catch up with this guy that I met in Reno that lives here in Orlando, and his company is here in Orlando, and he sells ozonated products like plug-in ozonators, and they're awesome. We have a couple of them in the house. They're great, small ones, small plug-ins. It does up to 500 square feet. And then he sells a big one that does like 4,000 square feet, and they work. They're great. They get all the smells out and whatnot, kills bacteria, allergens, all this stuff. So they make great Christmas gifts. They're about $100 a piece. And so I connect with the guy, and he was at a conference, and he was like, hey, I can meet up with you. And I knew he was an Asian guy, and he's got extremely broken English. And so he says, it's like, I'll come to you. And I was like, great. And this guy's a salesman. He's like, I'll come to you. And I was like, where are you at? And I said, well, I'm in Altamont right now. Still, I'm at the Ale House. So he's like, I'm in the parking lot. Like literally, I'm in the parking lot. I'll wait for you. I'm like, great. So I come out and I'm looking around for him, and I just see him. They didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, he said the truck's over there, but we got to go over here. I'm like, what? What are we doing?
Yeah, and I didn't think I had to tell them. I told him, I said, the truck's over there, meaning go to the truck while I go meet this guy. I guess I didn't communicate that. So they're walking with me towards this strange Asian man walking towards us. And I was like, hey, man, how you doing? And he just starts talking to Brandon. Rachel knew who he was because she met him in Reno. And Brandon's like, what the fuck is going on right now? Like, who is this guy? And he's trying to tell jokes, like dad jokes, in broken English, Asian broken English. So he says, you're Brandon. And he's like, yeah, I'm Brandon. He's like, that popular name in Florida. And he says, well, I'm from Georgia. And he goes, no, popular name. Now, to Brandon's credit, because I didn't get it, he knew what he was talking about. And
Let's go, Brandon.
And he was making a political joke. I didn't see that coming at all. So anyway, he goes, come over to my caravan.
He's got a van with a bunch of these machines in there.
So we walk over to his caravan. He lifts on the back, and he's got all these ozone products in the back. And I don't pay him cash. I pay him with a credit card. And he's got a scanner that prints out the receipt. And Brandon was just like, what the shit is going on right now?
That's how drug dealers do it now, man. Card.
Yeah.
Ain't got time for cash, counterfeit bills.
It was pretty good. All right. Manny, we should be able to talk. I guess maybe we'll talk to you before Christmas. Hopefully, maybe not. I don't know. TheAuroraLawFirm.com. You can follow them on social media, even though Manny doesn't want to post, and all of the journeys of him representing some of the biggest rappers in the world. Pew Pew, who probably is a fan of these. Are you a fan of these rappers that you represent with their criminal background?
Yeah, some of them.
Yeah. Are you
got culture?
Are you excited when you meet them?
I've actually never gotten to meet any of the rappers.
Would you be starstruck if you met Little Punk Face or whoever the guy's here?
I mean, depends on the rapper. I might be a little starstruck with Gucci Mane. I got to be honest.
Gucci Mane.
Gucci.
What is one of your favorite Gucci Mane joints, I think as they call them?
The State versus Roderick Davis is a good album, top to bottom.
Okay, give me one song and spit me some bars from the lab.
So I think, in my opinion, the best song on the album is the classic Lemonade. I think it's like third or fourth track on there.
It's good.
I don't know that I'm in the business of spitting any Gucci bars on tape, but
do you know some of the lines? Can you just tell me some of the lines?
I mean, he's talking about his Corvette painted lemon. I mean, it's all lemon everything.
Yeah.
Okay. Milk, lemonade.
In the shade, and he's selling lemonade. I mean, come on, Chuck.
Milk, lemonade. Go around the back. That's where chocolate's made. Is that song?
I don't think it's that song.
No.
Something like that.
I've never even heard of Gucci Mane.
Dude, we listened to him on the way up from wherever the hell we came from.
I don't know what I listened to, but I know that if our windows were down and the wrong people drove by us, they would have shot us both dead immediately.
Well,
that's all I know.
You got to look up Mr. Zone 6. He's the East Atlanta Santa.
East Atlanta Santa, but that's a good song. It's like a holiday song too. He's got one.
Hey, I got a question for Manny. I'm gonna hit Pew Pew up. I got my bill from my attorney. I don't think it's right. We haven't done anything yet, and I'm already at $8,000.
Jesus.
Oh my God.
That's what I'm saying.
When you said, what did they do some kind of prep? Because the bill, you don't get block billing. You always ask for itemized billing. So
they itemized it. It's all itemized. That's why it's like 3 pages. And I haven't even done anything.
But it's like every time you call them, it's always 0.2 for everything, right? So every email or phone message costs you like $100 or whatever.
Never done any of that. Nope.
I'd have to see the bill.
Well, I talked to them initially, and now they're doing everything. But I just feel like something's a little fishy. So I want to send it to Pew Pew maybe to review, and then if he gets
have a look at it and see what it is.
All right.
But everybody pads their bills. That's why we do flat fees, so nobody can say
well, at this point, my attorney bill is going to be cheaper than me just buying my grandmother a mansion in Boca. I mean, it's like, what am I doing this for? Just sell the house.
You're making a principle because some asshole guy you should really beat up and strangle and choke out is trying to steal from your mom or
principles know their limit, my friend. And this
just
rate, I'm looking about 35 grand.
Just go to Target and just use fake money.
There's going to be a phone call with Chuck and his grandmother saying, I love you, but you're not worth this much. I'm sorry.
No, that's not true. It's just you got to think about
kill.
It's cheaper to just take Granny somewhere really, really nice and just be like, sorry about the family home losing it to douchebag, but Daddy can't afford.
You're not losing it. It's paid for. Just keep it. Just pay the taxes up on it. He can't touch it.
That's what
But if I pay all this money for an attorney, I don't really own the home because it's now another mortgage.
That's why I told you not to hire the attorney. I told you to move your grandmother, let the house sit, and just make money off of the land.
No, you told me to go and beat him up.
And then afterwards, I said what I just said. We tried to call him on an episode that you weren't on, and we thought we had his number.
That's when he was having sex all day in Orlando.
And
oh my God.
And we tried to call he's got an ex-wife that lives across town. And we tried to call her, but that phone just rang. So we never got a hold of him.
Well, I'm gonna send the bill to Manny. We're gonna see if this is like what's going on here.
Can you get his actual cell phone so we can talk?
Yeah, after January 14th, you can have whatever you want.
Oh, Chuck, am I coming with you up there?
No.
What?
No, tickets aren't, dude. It's $100 to fly round trip to Detroit from Atlanta, but I got to fly my grandmother in from Pittsburgh, and that's $500 round trip.
Oh no, I'll get my own ticket.
It's like this podcast.
It'd be a great podcast. I mean, like
I want to document this
reality show right there.
There's no way I'm putting grandma anywhere near Brandon.
It's like this
you
podcast.
Just blur out her face.
No, I mean, I've spent days with Brandon, and she's too old for that.
It's like this podcast is live. Like I just talked about the ozone, and I just got an order. Look at that.
Look at that.
It's like
wasn't me this time.
Live on the radio. All right. Brandon, you got one question. And Manny, Pew Pew, you want to stick around and answer Brandon's one question? All right, here we go.
One question with Brandon.
Let's go, Brandon! Let's go, Brandon!
All right, what's your one question, Brandon?
All right, would you rather be a prostitute on the street for 5 years or in jail for 10?
Would you rather be a prostitute on the street for 5 years or in jail for 10? That's easy.
Is it though?
I want to be a prostitute and get paid to have sex.
Yeah, but you might end up with like AIDS or a bad disease.
Like you're if you're not afraid of it, I'm not afraid of it. I mean, like if you've survived this long, I think I'll be okay too.
Yeah, but you got to bang nasty people.
Oh,
when you're
you
a
can't.
prostitute.
Yeah, that was you. You're one. It's one question, and your question was, "We're going to be a prostitute." Now you're changing all the different
I'm
variables.
not changing it, but you got to think about who's buying a prostitute a lot of times. Sometimes, I mean,
That's not true. There are some really nice men out there that are just looking for companionship.
there's some of those, but a lot of the times you probably got like buttholes falling out and whatnot.
No, I don't know. I've talked to prostitutes before. There are some nice guys out there.
If you're
Prostitutes.
If you're a prostitute, do you have to sleep with like everybody? Because that was my question, Jason.
Anybody that pays you.
Yeah.
Both sexes, all sexes.
Yep.
No, that's not true. They have rules. Some prostitutes are like, I don't do butt stuff and I don't do, same sex. I mean,
how do you know that?
No, you're like a yes man prostitute. Whatever they say, they ask, you're doing
I've
it.
known prostitutes and escorts before. I can tell you that for a fact.
Really?
Absolutely. I did radio shows. They would call. I mean, I'd have them on the air. Yeah.
Well, if you ask the prostitutes down in Orlando now, they probably don't want to do it anymore.
The best prostitutes are the clearance ones, like up in Eustis and Lake Mary, where they're like, like the bad strip clubs in small town USA. It's really funny, where they're wearing like the TJ Maxx outfits and stuff. It's kind of cute. They probably do anything and everything.
Well, I'll be a prostitute.
I want to be a prostitute. Manny, would you like to be a prostitute for 5 years or be in jail for 10?
What security level? And if it's a federal prison, I would take a federal prison camp.
I was
any
thinking
day of the week for that.
because it was a little nicer. Well, it's like a shitty jail.
Yeah, you gotta go to Rice Street, Manny.
That's Street. That's you. Thank you. Have I taught you nothing? It's Street. It's Rice Street. That's what I like to call it.
So y'all really want to be a prostitute and just like bang whoever
Well,
shows
hold
up?
on.
I'm taking 10 to serve. I think I'd do fine in jail.
Yeah.
He'd be popular. We'd be doing everybody's habeas corpus actions from
That's what I'm
jail.
saying. I'd make more money in jail than I do on the outside.
Pew pew. In jail, you'd be called spew. There's no way.
The lawyers might do good in jail though.
There's so many jailhouse lawyers who don't have a law degree. If you had one that did, I mean, I would be making way more money on the inside.
Could you imagine if Pew Pew went to jail and he got there and they were like, all right, you're going to be a prostitute your whole time you're in here. And he's like, damn it.
Fuck, I should have went with the 5 years.
But I mean, like this isn't even a conversation. Like, would you rather have 10 years of your freedoms taken away or 5 years of getting paid to have sex? I don't understand why that's the oldest profession in time, in history. I don't understand why.
But you got to sleep with everybody, Jason.
Everybody.
That's fine.
Even ugly dudes.
No, that's not. You can't add that to it.
You're a prostitute.
He added it.
Prostitutes have rules.
The rules are you fuck everybody.
No,
In this scenario.
I'm the prostitute. I've chosen to be the prostitute, and I make my own rules. And my rules are like every other.
But I mean, under that logic,
You have a pimp?
nobody, right? So then you're just a prostitute. You get nothing, right? Yeah, there's got to be.
See, you guys I guess you guys have never met a prostitute before. They have rules. Like they actually are very strict with their rules. Have you ever seen Pretty Woman? Don't kiss the man.
Who's the pimp, Jason? Who's the pimp? They set the rules.
Yeah, I'm the pimp in the scenarios. I'm asking the question.
I
I'm
don't-
telling you, bitch, that you fucking everybody.
I don't have a bit, and that's my choice.
Oh, are you doing the girlfriend experience kind of thing where you sort of control your hours and who you see and
That's more of
charge?
an
Has anybody seen that show? That's a really good show.
Yeah,
The girlfriend experience.
I've been on the streets long enough to know how the game is played, and I don't need representation, and I get to pick and choose who I want. I charge a premium, and there's a reason why I do that.
That's an escort, not a prostitute.
Wait. What's the reason?
Like a street walking prostitute.
Jason's been on the streets long enough. Are you kidding me?
If Brandon can make up scenarios, I can make up scenarios if I'm the prostitute. And Chuck, you asked, what is the reason why I charge the premium? Is because I'm damn good at what I do.
At servicing men or women?
Women.
Both.
Women. Now,
Your pimp just said both.
I don't have a pimp.
He's doing both of them, damn it.
I don't have a pimp.
He's got the butt waxing. It's the cleanest thing in town. That's why he gets paid extra.
I will tell you, earlier in my career, I was servicing men and women, and I didn't like it. It hurt. So I chose to just stick with women.
Well, then you need to go to jail. Then if you can't do both things for me, I need you to go to jail then.
I don't know who you are. You're not a part of my bubble.
He's your pimp.
He's not my pimp. I told you I am pimpless.
It's Gator, man.
No, this is my street. This is my block. I don't need a pimp. And I do my own thing, to put myself through school and to support my kids. So fuck y'all.
What are you going to school for?
Biology.
How to suck dick better?
No. Strippers and prostitutes, like, you guys are dicks. Like, you're really, like, you don't understand them. There's a lot of these girls that legit are trying to make better lives. Like, I knew strippers. I spent a lot of time in strip clubs back in the day. And I can tell you a lot of those girls were that joke of going to school with the kids. It was a job. They came into the strip club, they danced, and they went home to their kids. And I dated some of them. And they did not party. They didn't do drugs. They didn't drink. They strictly were just, they were getting paid a ridiculous amount of money.
Because they knew they would turn into prostitutes as they started doing that. If you just strip and don't party, then you're just a stripper.
No, a lot of them went and finished school and actually got legit jobs and did well for themselves. I guess you've never been around the scene long enough to know that, but they're not all what you think they are.
Well, that would not be you in this scenario.
Well, it is, because I am me. I used to go by Portia, but now I don't. I go by something else.
When you dated them, were they still Cinnamon, or did they give you their real name?
It's funny. So there's this one girl I dated, and I mind after, because she was over. Her and her friend came over to my house one night, and we're partying and drinking. And I would always kind of pull the old, I can tell you everything there is to know about you in 60 seconds or something. But she danced under her real name, but when she hung out with people, she used a different name. So it was the opposite of what normally they would do. And knowing that, I was able to just say everything there was to know, like tell the girl who she was, what type of girl she was. She was actually very sweet. She was a little kooky, but she was very sweet. I dated her for a little bit, but like, these girls were very interesting. It was fun dating them. They were nice, and they weren't everything you think they were. They weren't party, like not all of them were party girls and crazy druggies and stuff. Like, some of them were, but not all of them.
Well, I didn't think this question would turn into Jason defending prostitutes.
Well, I think that you need to know them before you ask a silly question and be so mean about it.
I'm just talking about the generic. When you think of a prostitute, you think dirty, STDs. They're loose. Every hole's loose.
Okay. That's what you think, but you don't. You asked me a question.
Well, I know. I asked the question with that in my mind. The question comes from me. Now, if you would have asked it, that's how we would have played it out.
But like, you should have prepped. You should have the words prep. You should have prefer. You know what I'm trying to say. The question by saying, so you have to understand the scenario. The prostitute that you would be is dirty and this and this and this and that. And you like both sides, all that. You didn't say anything about the jail. Like, Manny asked the question, what type of jail? You didn't go into detail about how shitty the jail was.
Well, that's why you asked me the questions, and I tell you what the answer is.
All right. Well, I'm going to be a prostitute. I'm not going to have a pimp, and I'm just going to have sex with women. So go fuck yourself. Manny wants to go to.
All going to be Sports Illustrated models.
That's right. Damn right. They're all going to be hot. They're going to pay top dollar. That's right. Chuck's with me, right? Chuck's having.
No, I
changed my answer. I want that one.
Yeah. I knew the rules going into this thing.
As the supermodels are dying
I still chose
men.
prostitute. Still chose prostitute.
So prostitute. Manny, prostitute.
Yeah, unless I'm going to a federal camp, then I'd go to prison.
Federal prison over prostitute, but prostitute over jail.
Pew, I can actually see you being a male prostitute. You look like a guy that would do that.
He's more escort style.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Like your boyfriend experience, like banging her. You kiss on the lips. Yeah, I could totally see that.
I can see him taking girls to like homecoming and stuff.
Right?
No,
not doing anything other than just being like, Tim Tebow does that a lot. Like you would be they would be like, hey, we need you to be an attorney. And you're like, all right, I'll do that. And then you like go to prom, as an attorney.
Like some kid runs into him at the Panda Express and says, my dad doesn't want to come to show and tell today. And Pew would be like, well, little boy, I'll come to show and tell with you today. I'm a lawyer. That'd be great. And he goes to school with the little boy. The little boy's name's Jake. And he says, Jake, I'll go to school with you. And like just follows Jake to school. And then he's like, we got a daddy dance this Friday. Would you take me? Because my dad won't take me. And he goes, sure, Jake, I'll take you. And he goes and he wears his Aurora Law Firm sweatshirt and he takes the kid to the dance and slow dances with little Jake. I agree with you 110%.
And the news picks it up. It's a feel-good story, and
Feel-
then everybody does a GoFundMe, and you do this all the time, and you can quit. And then Manny works for you as your attorney at your new foundation.
And then fast forward
How about
20
he gets
years.
arrested?
Yeah,
And I
I
have to
don't. The
represent
last
him in
time I
that
went
one.
to prom, I was a senior in high school. There is no next time. I'm good.
And fast forward 20 years, Jake becomes very successful. He's doing this big interview with the news, and he says, I owe it all to my step-in dad, Pew Pew.
It's like The Blind Side.
Exactly. Big Mike.
Exactly.
Big
Like
Jake.
The Blind Side.
Exactly.
Famously unproblematic story, The Blind Side.
Totally get that. Yeah. Chuck, you and I are on the same page on this one.
I know.
Yeah, this is good. All right, guys. Thank you very much, Manny, the Mad Dog, Manny Aurora, the AuroraLawFirm.com. Pew Pew. Thank you very much. Let us know about this young lady that supposedly exists, would you please?
I'll let you know when she gets back.
All right. Okay. All right.
She's not coming back.
Brandon, do you got anything before we get out here?
Yeah, man. If you don't want to pay child support, just go to jail. That's what I
Okay.
learned from this
All right.
conversation.
Chuck, do you have anything before we get out?
Yeah, Manny said a word earlier, and I haven't heard it in many years. And we're going to put the kibosh on it.
Yeah, kibosh.
What word?
Love that word. Love that word.
What word?
Manny, do you have anything before we
What
get out?
Kibosh. Kibosh.
Oh,
Just remind me to follow up on the parents being charged. That's going to be an interesting thing. And also the trial of the rapper situation in Memphis. So we'll be traveling a good bit, but I'll give you some updates.
Word.
And I want to know about Michigan more than anything else right now as to how the Upper Peninsula works out.
All right.
Texting you, buddy.
And Pew Pew, do you have anything?
Go Dogs, and don't strangle people on the subway.
Yeah, right. Okay. We'd like to give a big thanks to Sparky's Lawn Service for sponsoring One Question with Brandon. Right, Brandon?
yeah. He's serving the metro Atlanta area. He's doing all your lawn trimming, edging, and cutting needs. I know it's the winter now. You want to get them leaves off the ground. You might have a bunch of junk in the backyard you want to get put and thrown away in a dumpster. He might do that for you. You just got to ask him. He does a lot of things. So just ask him. Give him a call, or actually email him, sparkyslawn@gmail.com, or you can give him a call at 404-369-3825.
That's not even close.
Oh, God.
Yeah, not even close.
Oh, I was thinking of the old radio station number,
Yeah.
404-741-7625.
Yeah, you want to try again or you want me to say?
No, go ahead.
Okay. 706-897-2199.
I used to
Close.
have him
You got like two of the numbers right.
Yeah. And then
Sparky's like, why is this phone not ringing?
So some other poor souls, his phone's blowing up. Like, I don't do this shit. All right. Sparky's with an S, sparkyslawn@gmail.com, 706-897-2199. Want to get that lawn ready for the spring. And now is the time to do it, believe it or not. All right. Thank you all. Appreciate the support. Yeah, this is a Free Bay episode. Hopefully you'll like what you heard. If you want to subscribe, we'd love to have you. TheBaileyShow.com. Follow us on all socials at Listen to the BS. Get everything on TheBaileyShow.com. Join us every Tuesday night for our live Twitch stream at 6 o'clock. Just follow us on social and you'll get that. We are under the BS Pod, right?
The Bailey Show Pod.
The Bailey Show Pod. There you go. And if you want to be a sponsor, get a hold of me. Looking for sponsors going into 2025 to add the already amazing list of sponsors that we have now. All right. Have a good one. Thanks for support. Talk to you soon. Yeah, bye.
Thanks for listening. Till next time, check out thebaileyshow.com. Make sure you like, share, follow on all socials. I leave you with these parting words.
Never got a pink slip either. You know what I would get? A guy would come around to my desk and say, "Get the fuck out of here!"
What do we want to talk about?
Subscribe at thebaileyshow.com.
Yeah, baby.